That's wild, man. Fucking I fucked up so bad. I didn't start streaming until just now.
I was trying to look for comments.
Yeah, and nobody even knows.
I was like, why aren't there any comments like that? I was like, I can't find the damn
Yeah,
stream.
I fucked it right up. I fucked right up, but it's all good. It don't matter.
I was looking for questions that people might be possibly asking
about the NBA.
Yeah.
And then I realized our stream's not up.
So, all right. Just for everybody that's listening right now, welcome to the Bad First Impression Show. This is Alonzo Cantu,
This
as
is a
always.
bad first impression for some people.
It is
You
real
living
bad,
up to your
man.
name right now.
Yeah. Give it up for me. We have
Outstanding.
the lovely Bub Jenkins in the studio. We've had CJ Miles in the studio, Mr. Mas Fresco in the studio. Go check out his album. It's Everything is Learned.
Taught.
Everything is Taught. Everything is Taught.
Yeah, there's a couple of them on there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of. We've been releasing singles every other Wednesday since January 1st.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because I learned a lot of freestyles and shit. So
Yeah, so there's a lot of them. If you go on like Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, it's on everything. Like we've been releasing a song like every other Wednesday.
As I downloaded your 2 albums last summer, I hadn't checked back because I figured you would mention something. Whether
Nah, we just when the start of this year, I just wanted to be like I've made so much music. I just wanted to consistently share it because there's some people that do like it and follow me for it, and I enjoy doing it. And I wanted to challenge myself in that side. So I knew that would be I would be out of my comfort zone sharing that much.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what that felt like. I wanted to see if I could keep up the pace of doing that every other Wednesday, making songs, making content, whatever. Like,
does it feel like having a schedule helps your creative process?
yeah, because now I don't have to. I'm not just floating. Like there's no. I don't turn it off because sometimes you can get and you guys will know being creative, writing jokes. Sometimes when there's no deadline or no nothing, you just kind of like whatever, it's not coming. You never and you give up on days that could have brought out your best shit if you'd have stayed 5 more minutes in that spot. Or I'd be starting a song and I'd have 3 lines and I'd be like, it's not really feeling it. But if I had a deadline on Monday, I would stay in them 3 lines for another hour, and then in an hour I have 2 songs.
No, for real, man. So when I first started the podcast, just on my end, because I totally agree with that. It's a great fucking point. I did it not doing it live. You know what I mean? I did it just recorded, and I couldn't keep up a schedule and shit. But after doing it for maybe about a year, I made myself do it live on one day, and almost the liveness of it, doing the liveness helped give me that motivation to be there every time that I was there. I am showing up for something and all that, and it totally changed my entire perspective on my entire podcasting thing. So that's very important. I think, especially in comedy and all that, to set up So how do you do it? Do you have a specific time a day that you're like, all right, these are my 2 hours, this is my 1 hour that I'm dedicating to things?
I used to do it like that, but we just had my son is a month old. So
oh wow. I was saying congratulations, man.
Thank you. So that schedule is obviously out the window. You know what I mean? So
their own schedule, right?
Before school was out, before the summer came, my 2 oldest would go to school. So I go, drop them off, come home right after that, eat breakfast, and I would have a block of 3-4 hours if I wasn't recording the basketball podcast of just me to do whatever. Because me and my wife don't want to sit up under me all day. So she do what she's doing in the morning, go work out. I'll work out at the house, and then I would have that block of time until 2 o'clock. I'd take a nap before I go get them. And I would just spend that time reading, writing, listening to music, studying, whatever it is I'm doing.
What are you reading these days?
Right now, what am I reading right now? Right now I'm reading a book by Bell Hooks about male masculinity.
Interesting. You ever heard
Because there's so much conversation about masculinity right now. And I've just been wanting to dig into mine and what I really think about it instead of just seeing some quote unquote woke guy's Instagram video telling me that I'm too soft or I'm too hard.
Man, that really pisses me off because a lot of these faggots, I'm like, man, shut up. I know you probably don't even like pussy. You know what I mean? You probably don't even like eating pussy the way you're talking about the shit. You know what I mean? It's so what are some of your ideas about masculinity right now? What's something that's been kind of stirring around your head, I guess, the most recent thing?
The whole thing is, first of all, to try to define it is stupid. To try to define it the way they're trying to define it. To try to tell somebody because they like this or have these type of attributes that they're less masculine than this. I think a man is what a man needs to be in his situation. So me, all 3 of us are men and we don't need the same tools.
Yo, 1 second. in the situation. I like that. Like it's contextual.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It is contextual. Like you don't have kids, so there's a set of traits that you don't need to work on or need to develop. Or right now, you don't need to.
At the moment in my
not on
life.
the front of your mind. So like, there's some things that we were in a place that I would know it would come to me faster than you because I've been dealing with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old throwing shit off the walls. Like, I don't know what that thing is, but and then we could be somewhere else.
We see that all the time because Lauren's constantly like, "Bub, why would you let them do that?"
Yeah, and you're like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And we're thinking about two different things. And I think there's like my dad growing up, when he grew up, didn't need to teach me what he knew. He needed to teach me how to be able to make tools for whenever I was going to need them. So like, he didn't have the internet. We couldn't even be on the phone at the same time as the internet when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much different things in the world, and we're trying to tell people you're not masculine because you don't barbecue. Or like, because you can't cut a thing's head off and skin it. Like, I don't.
And I also think a lot of that stuff is like low key ways of getting you just to buy more shit.
100%.
You know, it's like
everything is geared towards.
Yeah, it's like
consumerism.
Hey, you'll be seen more manly if you have this product. You know what I mean? You don't need to use it. Just have it. Because people just assume.
When you even think about like the first version of masculinity in this country, you don't even want to be based off that definition. It's all like men in wigs that used to hit their women and had slaves. Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that
like,
sounds kind of going full circle now, right?
like, no, but think about
we're back. We're back.
We're back, baby.
But think about masculinity. Like the person who the standard of masculinity, like in the country, is like based off the way it was started, which is like my stick's bigger than yours.
Yeah.
So like that's the way we carry it around now. So like a dude that like to wear purple pants is not masculine because he can't have a big stick in purple pants. Like, you know what I mean?
I think Young Thug blew that shit out of the water. I actually think Young Thug did more for masculinity with this murder case than
I think Prince beat him to it.
Yeah, Prince definitely.
Prince never shot a motherfucker.
Not that we know of.
Yeah, you're right.
Not that we know
about it.
Is also
He
true.
would have made a song though. This is what it sounds like when punks die.
That song would be hard.
He didn't release a lot of his songs though.
Yeah, we never gonna get it.
Dude, he has a whole drill catalog we don't know about and shit like that. It's like, you claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife, and Michael Jackson's a pedo when you fuck.
I was about to say, what if he had diss tracks against Michael Jackson? That would be wild. He like dissed everybody in his
Where's
genre.
your nose, Mike? I got it right here. You was a fucking queer. This is early. So if you listen to it, you'd be like, man, this sounds whack, but you got to keep in mind, he's doing it in the 80s.
Yeah.
He's like doing the first drill rap.
And he was way different from everybody else already then, too. So, like.
I think about Prince a lot, honestly, about the masculinity of Prince and his femininity, his strength. And there's this one gif of Prince where he's like giving a look and all that. I'm like, God damn, what's this motherfucker doing to me with the eyes and shit? Because he's like it's almost like he's taking the power away from women in a weird way. It's like I'm taking that, and I also have now my powers plus these powers. It's like
I think the real power in it, I don't even know. Like, obviously, like you notice the femininity because of like the way he dresses and things like that. But I think the power is like the full like transparency. Like, I think that's the real power in it. It's like I don't care what anybody thinks because if I want to wear baggy jeans and boots tomorrow, I'm gonna do that too.
The way I describe his power is if you told somebody that Prince kissed you, he forced himself on you, people would look at you and be like, nah.
Exactly.
Nah, he could do better.
And then the thing was, he wouldn't even want to. Like, he wouldn't even want to. Like,
he could do way better than you.
Yeah, you know, somebody got that energy about him, like that he just needs fucking. It seems like, he's like, I'd rather fuck myself, honestly.
And it's gonna be it's gonna fall into my lap. Like, why would I ever?
Michael Jackson was not a bad-looking dude. He just kept on messing with his nose.
Yeah.
But like, he was never a sex symbol. Prince was like a fucking.
He never got.
Symbol.
Well, I don't know if we can say that. I think
Michael Jackson was a sex symbol, especially early Mike.
Yeah, early Mike.
Oh, Black Mike.
Yeah, Black Mike. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't want
right
to say
before
it that way.
when he was young, like right before he went,
Teen
like
Mike.
full. Yeah, I mean,
before the super long hair and the skin.
I mean,
got
think
white.
about all the pedos that fucking like Mike when he was little Mikey. You know what I mean? Like he must have like really had that. I mean, when you got so far in Hollywood.
They said that Diana Ross had sex with him.
Man, he had
insinuated.
Diana Ross though.
Huh?
He had the biggest crush on her. That was him. He loved her. I don't know what did or did not happen, but I know he had the biggest crush on her.
That's so interesting. Imagining Michael Jackson fucking. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I can't do
I
it.
can't imagine him in missionary.
Because
You know
aren't
what
the
I mean?
kids not the kids not his? Like not his
That's what
actual
you hear.
kids. I think he
That's
has
what
one
Elvis's
that's
wife,
actually his.
Elvis's daughter said.
But I don't think the ones that we thought were his kids, and maybe
But
that's why they kept
also,
him
I
going.
think that
Blanket
could be.
and
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that could be because of the castration thing, because they say that whenever you could hit the high notes, is old man Joe Jackson would fucking like let off on his nuts with his leg. He would just like kick him right in the fucking balls and shit. And so they say that his
I don't know.
testicles were like they say that his testicles were like fucking destroyed from that shit, and that's why.
Really? I never heard this before.
I never heard
You
this
never
one.
heard Michael Jackson? Oh, really? No, this is old. It might be just conjecture. You know what I mean? I read a lot of
It could be
internet.
anything, yeah.
threads
I'm
and
hoping
shit.
it is.
I mean, what?
He was crazy though.
Well, I
his
heard.
dad.
Well, I heard. So I heard two things. I heard that Michael Jackson's voice was an act.
Yeah,
and
he
one
did
of
talk
his.
like
And I heard like on a documentary or some shit. One of his like bodyguards or some shit called him up, and Mike was all like, "Yo, what's up?" and shit. And
But
he's
there's
like,
multiple stories of multiple people saying that.
"Yeah, right."
Like
so.
other celebrities saying they did.
But I mean, how do you know that he didn't just hand the phone to his fucking guy and shit? He's like, just pretend to be me. I don't. I'm
believe
busy,
he talk like that either, though.
right? Because I'm saying,
I can't believe the person that goes in the studio and makes the noises and the music that he makes talks like that. Walks around gingerly. I don't believe that.
yeah, I mean, because it's like, if he could, I think he would, because just his musical prowess would want him to have that deepness. You know what I mean? To have that range, I think he would like it.
Well, he got light. His voice got lighter. It was always pretty light,
Yeah, it was
even
never,
his black mic.
Yeah.
But then, like as he like started going through all the surgeries and
we got a
started.
fucking caller. 1 second. Go on.
But I even think that even then he was doing it a little bit because he was so like he was young Mike, like he was kind of like making it. He was trying to. I think that was a sign of his personality.
Caller.
Like, you know.
Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here. What's up, guys?
All right. So you are on the line, Bad First Impressions Radio. Do you have a question for any of our guests in the studio?
I'm just curious, man. It's me, Rocky, two-time champ, from the Crazy Ape comedy.
This
Two-time
motherfucker.
champ,
All right. Hey, what's up, boss?
Let him know.
Congratulations
No,
You
last
know what? You
night.
got that $100. You can go subscribe to the Bad First Impressions Patreon now, right? $5 a month.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was hoping that y'all had an OnlyFans. No,
We're working on it.
I was just curious, man. I heard y'all were having CJ Miles. I was like, is that fucking true? Like, legit NBA CJ Miles?
Yeah, he's in here.
Yeah, he's in my fucking in my house, and he's being like really polite about it. He's not talking shit about any of my bad shit that I have just laying out. He's being really cool.
The blow up dolls. He's just
Hell
he's
yeah,
cool with
that's
it.
awesome. That's badass, man. Yeah, I don't know how y'all pulled that off, but that's legit.
Fucking Bub Jenkins.
I
Fucking,
sent him letters every day for months.
he runs his fan club, dude. You
I
didn't
do.
know that?
Dang. All
Yeah.
right.
Do you have a
that's
question
cool.
for
Hell
Mr.
yeah.
CJ Miles, man? He's listening right
Yeah,
now.
sure. Yeah, let me
actually
think.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me
I
see.
have a microphone and everything. They untied me when you called.
Hell yeah, badass. Okay, cool, man. What's your favorite NBA memory? Like
I mean,
How'd you win this, Mike?
for you,
him on the
for you.
spot.
Like what's like you've been in the league a little bit. Like you're still
Oh.
in. Like what's your favorite?
I wouldn't call it one. I mean, there's a couple that
Can I
stand out.
guess?
Go ahead.
Draft day?
I don't know if that's my favorite memory. I think that's like the start of it. That's what I was gonna say. I don't really can't pinpoint it. The one I think the biggest thing though is that I got to play against because I went in out of high school. A lot of the guys that I watched growing up.
Okay,
Oh,
so
shit.
So I got
yeah.
to play against T-Mac, Kobe, Yao Ming.
Hell yeah, that's badass.
I got Michael Jordan when I went to his camp in the
Holy
summer. I got
shit.
to play against Allen Iversons and all the guys that I was watching and trying to emulate. I got to like line up against them.
So
That was
actually,
probably the best
on that, so my friend Danny is a huge NBA fan, and he had this question that I thought was actually really interesting, and I didn't
Don't
know
hang up,
about this
Rocky.
until he showed up. Yeah, stay online, please, Rocky, because So, this is how he worded it. He's so you were drafted at 18
Yeah.
in 2005. The last year high schoolers were eligible for the draft when you're selected. Second round by Utah, making you the youngest player in Utah Jazz history. 1 second. So basically, his question is, what do you think of the one and done rule? Do you think that college is necessary for player development? And also, he says that the one and done rule is ending in 2023, 2024. The next year will be our first year since you were the draft class that players will be eligible for the NBA draft straight out of high school. And then he had one last question. So I want to split them up. So do you think that college is necessary for player development?
I don't think it's I don't, but I think everybody's different. So I always look at it like I don't think I needed college for basketball, but I think there were some things that would have helped me as a man going to college, like as a person that would have helped me.
Like in business of it.
Just in everything else. Like off the basketball court, I did not need college for basketball. Like I'm not saying I was like ready to be an all-star when I came in, but I was good enough to learn and obviously keep my job and make a career.
I mean, and that is your job. It's not like you can go to basketball class and get a degree in basketball.
You're talking about like social
development. Socially development, like just everything. You're a kid. Like I've never washed my own clothes for real.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there's so much of life that I've never been outside of my parents' home. So college is like that middle step. Like and I was going to be in Austin so they could still visit. You still got some kind of guidance with the people at the school. Still
You're going to go to UT?
You. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what was the choice? I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. No, I was saying, so did you, what was the thing about that? Why didn't you decide to do that?
So to kind of answer the question,
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, as far as basketball, I felt like I wanted to be an NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
So why would I not go learn from the NBA people?
Yeah.
Like if I had the opportunity, I
like
knew if they were going to give me a guaranteed opportunity, I was going to be fine. As long as it was something solid, like they gave me 2-year contract, like that was enough for me. I was like, I can make the rest happen. Like I believe that much in basketball and how much I love to play and what I did. So, but the decision went kind of like, my senior year of basketball, I had already signed with UT before my senior year because I just wanted to play basketball and like skip classes like a regular senior. Like I didn't want to deal with people asking me every day and doing all the whole thing. So like had a press conference, did this whole whatever thing. That during that year, NBA teams are calling. My parents do not tell me. My high school coach does not tell me. They wait until the season ends because they wanted to let me be a kid. They didn't want me dealing with that thing.
Yo, that's legit of them, man. One second, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's fucking real, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. Is that something familiar you heard, like any other players?
I don't know. I think most guys kind of knew. Like I had no clue, literally no.
Wow.
Like, which is crazy. And I know people probably wouldn't believe it, but I had no clue.
Probably helped your playing though
and
too,
we don't
right?
have the internet, so there's not everything saying, scouts are coming to the games, and I don't have that. Like.
But you had nobody even there, like your coaches were even
they weren't phone calls,
and they weren't even saying like, hey, there's somebody because they didn't want to fuck with what was working, right?
Exactly.
They're like, yo,
so,
this is working. They're
coming because of who you are, so like we don't want you to try to change that. We want to let you go on your own trajectory. Sometimes I think about maybe if I knew, maybe I would have did even more. I think I worked really hard for a 17-year-old. I think I was doing a lot, but I think if I'd have known that, my mindset would have been different. But it also could have made me crash too. Who knows? Like, but the season ends. Some teams calls like, "Hey, you want to come do some workouts before the draft?" And a handful of teams tell me they're gonna draft me.
Wow.
So I say, "Fuck it."
That's wild. So like, what? So you didn't even know when they invited you to the workouts that
I knew that part. So after they told me that they were calling during that summer, like I was. Right when school ended, like after prom, I barely went to my prom because I was doing the workouts during that time.
So here's my wild thing: the fact that you knew that they were interested, you still kept your same schedule.
Yeah,
that's wild. Because like my big problem is that fucking I'll almost start celebrating too early. You know what I mean? I'll be like, yo, I won't hit the stream record. You know what I mean? We got CJ Miles in studio. It's all good. Fucking so that's wild, man. So it's
but we also like that's the difference between now and then too. Like I didn't even have nowhere to go act like that at. You know what I mean? There was nowhere for me to project it. Like I couldn't put it on Instagram.
You couldn't, yeah.
I couldn't. There was no. So that wasn't even on my mind. Only the people that were around me, who I could tell like face to face, and on my phone, like I had a sidekick. So like in my T-mail, like or my the messenger back, the instant messenger. That's the only thing you could do.
Yeah. So like that straight leads me to my the next question. So it's like. And I think you put it really good in some of your other answers, so I don't want to act like I wasn't listening because it's like you were saying that because you got drafted out so early, you got to play with your heroes, you got to see that and all that. So I guess the question is, so I'm sorry.
Rocky, you still there?
Yeah, man, I'm here. I'm listening.
He was hella quiet though.
Hey, you guys,
he's being respectful as fuck, man.
I didn't want to interject at the wrong time because I got another question, but I figured we could. Well, the other question is his thoughts on Wemby.
Okay.
We asked you about that earlier.
Well, do we? Well, oh yeah! Yo, here's my thought about that though. It's like, yo, that shows how much we care about the fucking San Antonio Spurs. You know what I mean? It's like, slap that bitch Britney. She probably had some poison on her hand. She's trying to touch fucking. She was trying to poison that motherfucker, dude. We need to protect that man.
What are the odds of him getting
Hey,
here?
but
And
I saw the
Britney
video.
Spears
It was the
that he has
smallest
all-
She don't even live here.
Like, what are the odds of it being Britney Spears?
Yeah,
that
the
he
number
has
one
the
white
first
woman
altercation?
in the world. Yeah.
That's so crazy. She was at one point though. That was the
Yeah.
first white girl I had a crush on.
Really?
Britney Spears.
All right, let's give it up.
Not me.
Like,
I was in the middle of Oklahoma with Shara from the last podcast.
What? Oh yeah, with all her
Yeah,
friends.
so needless to say, there was no white people where I live. So like,
And Altus is pretty much only white people.
yeah. So seeing her in that
All right.
red suit and the
Well-
Oops I Did It Again was like, they make them like that.
Yeah.
That was wild when I first saw Mexican chicks though. When I first moved to Texas. or
Same
whatever.
here.
I was like, yo, they all got ass and tits, like all of them. Like you're just walking,
No.
you're just driving down the
and a
street.
stomach, ass and tits and a stomach.
Well, that's after they have their baby.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's how you know
different.
they're good at fucking. That's the weird one where it's like, man, they must really love fucking. They got like 3 kids and no dude. They must just love dick. What the fuck's going on here?
That's called red flags, or that's called trying to build.
when I moved down here,
Flag's a fucking starting line flag for me, my friend, sir. It's like the races have begun.
and when I moved down here was the
Green
first
light?
time I'd ever seen like girls I was going to school with that were knocked up. I was like, this is normal here?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you know, that's.
Nobody's shunning them. There's no shaming them.
What was I back before
We just would
taking
know when they would not come to school. They'd be like, no.
Oh, they'd still be in class
Yeah,
with us.
they wasn't coming to school.
Barely fitting in the desk.
No, we had an alternative school where all the bad kids and pregnant girls went.
Yeah,
So
that
wouldn't-
does
So they
happen.
wouldn't, so they wouldn't let all the people in the school know that that's what happens when you stick a penis in a vagina. We taught abstinence only where I grew up. We also had a dry county. Give it up for my hometown. Siloam Springs.
Would you live in Amish land or what?
Basically, we had like Protestants and Pentecostals arguing with the Baptists and shit, and I was sitting there as a Catholic, like you guys are all going to hell.
wars.
Yeah, fucking retards.
a
Worship the
famous
right
Catholic
God.
I'm gonna let you
Should be in
guys go, but
quotations.
one last thing, if maybe if he wants to answer is how when he first got his
Oh, yeah, I
big
think
contract.
actually you mentioned the Wembley thing.
Wembley.
Is that just yeah?
He asked what I
Yeah.
I think he's super talented. I think like he's obviously a giant. Like, you don't see guys that move that well at his size. I think he's gonna have to learn some things, obviously pace wise of the game, and then you're the number one, so it's a target on your back. So you're gonna get everybody's best effort all the time.
Yeah. All right.
You think they're going to try to bulk him up, or they're going to leave him light?
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I think you get stronger, but I don't think his frame.
His metabolism is
And-
probably too fast for that, right?
But also, you put weight on that frame, he's gonna lead to injury.
Yeah.
'Cause he's
Well,
so
didn't
big.
Chet get?
Yeah.
Aren't they saying like Holmgren put on some weight? I think he could put on a couple
but when you
pounds.
look, yes, I'm saying he's not gonna get big, but he's gonna put on strength. He'll get solid. But like when you look at Chet, they say he gained like 15 pounds. You still can't see it.
New Shaq.
Chet
Yeah,
Holmgren.
I'm sorry, I'm stupid.
Oh.
Holmgren, he's another tall,
Yeah.
lengthy
You can,
guy.
I mean, you can see it, but he doesn't. He's not big though. It's like put on the right places. Like
When I look at his build, Wemby's build, I always think of what was the backup point guard that used to be on the Golden State?
Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
He's like Sean Livingston stressed out.
Yeah. Every time I look at him, I'm like, yeah, that's his build.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think Chet's build's a little bit. Chet can hold a little bit more, but I think Wemby's build is because even KG got bigger over time, but he didn't get too big,
Yeah.
but he was still strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another person. Because KG was skinny when he came in the league.
And they figured out a way to gradually do it, and he's gonna also he's a kid, so he's gonna naturally get some filling out just from his body finishing up. Like
Yeah.
So, my friend Danny had another question.
You still taking off, Rocky?
I can stand the
No,
line. It might
I'll
inspire
sit
him.
back for a couple.
Yeah, just
I'll
relax,
chill for a
man.
cou- No,
You're doing
I
good.
got a 9 to 5, man.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm off on the weekend.
If I got another caller coming in, though, I might have to get you off for them. But,
No.
All right,
it's
so
all
this
good.
is actually a really good one. So until 2015, you might already know this because you know your history of yourself, obviously. But until 2015, when Kyrie Irving scored 11, you held the record for
Three-pointers,
most
10.
three-pointers in a single game for Cleveland Cavaliers with 10.
Yeah.
Exactly, like you just said. Shit, we need to do some trivia with this. So what he said is that the game has a heavy reliance on the three-point shot. However, That seemed to be one of your strengths prior to the shift in the league that made the mid-range game disappear. What do you think of the evolution of the three-point shot and how it's affected the mid-range game?
I think we went through a period of time when they were obviously trying to change the game to be dependent on it. So like a lot of guys shouldn't have been shooting them that were shooting them. Like everybody was just shooting them because
everybody was doing 3 points in high school. Everybody was doing the 3-point,
and they blamed it on Steph Curry, but like whatever. But it was just the way the game was going. They wanted higher scoring for entertainment wise and more spacing on the floor. I mean, it's a different style of game because I came in at the end of kind of like the like put it like this: my rookie year, Greg Ostertag was on my team. So I was at the end of like that old school era, like the last of the guys that had played against like Jordan and like those guys were still kind of around. So when it started to shift and like the power forward stopped looking like Karl Malone and started looking like me, wiry movers, shooters like that, they wanted spacing. And then the European game put a lot of just weight on the NBA because guys were coming from over there. Dirk came and changed the game, and then a bunch of other European wings and guards came, and the speed of the game, and they wanted that. So
you ever play with any European players? Anybody from overseas?
Yeah, a couple.
It sounds like a stupid question to ask, but was there any kind of like similarities that you noticed in like their style of play, or maybe not even style of play, but like off the field even?
They were different from us because they're trained basketball coming up. Like there's basketball schools and like I play with Andre Kirilenko, right? So like
what basketball schools like
they go and
AK-47.
like so like IMG here, like where they go and the kids like do their athletic training and they go to school. It's like college before college, like a board. They were doing that over there before. Like kids would be pros at like 12, 13, 14 years old over there. So like they have different paces and different experience, but they also played more out of movement and with the team more. We were all guys that grew up on watching Michael Jordan, and we all wanted to be Michael Jordan. So like we all just shot the ball in ISO and like I'm gonna do it myself type thing. And I think the game started to evolve, and the more talented players got, the more you needed to play that way. Because now LeBron can't win it by himself because there might not be a LeBron on the other team, but there's 4 guys who can really play and not just one. And that's what's happened over time. The talent level is skyrocketed because kids are training like pros at 12 years old.
It was almost like at maybe one point, the 3-pointer thing made it so there was, one person, but then as that evolved with like the style, it became more like, oh, well, now it needs to be a team thing again because
we get higher scoring and more floor. And then the reason we had the bad part is because now you got the game changing. So you got all these guys who are not shooters. They're just making them shoot threes for the sake of changing the game. Now you got the kids that are coming into the league now, grew up watching the 3-point style of play. So now they're shooters when they get there. They're better shooters, if that makes sense. Like,
no, totally. It's like
changing of the guard.
The evolution.
You watch skateboarding?
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane what they're doing on a skateboard these days. But when I was growing up in high school, it's like, it's like it was a completely different thing. And that is such a fascinating idea about how just seeing what is possible opens up your mind to that it can be done almost. It's like there's almost like a weird like mental block on
100%.
Yeah, that is fucking fascinating.
It's like the arguments of like when they try to say like Larry Bird wouldn't be as good as he was now as he was then. And it's such an unfair argument to have because Larry Bird only knew what he knew.
Yeah.
Like these kids saw Larry Bird, then they saw Magic and Michael and all the other Allen Iverson and all these other things. Their imagination, you can't compare his imagination to he was the cream of the crop at that time. Like
I feel like people today hate on Larry Bird. Like they don't give him the respect
he's white.
he deserves.
Yeah, but it's a lot of but like the thing too, a lot of the new school they so far away from the old school stuff. Like they watch it and they's like, bro, I could do what he's doing.
Yeah,
because we've advanced so far, so it kind of takes away from
the context. Kind of like the Beatles. It's like you listen to the Beatles now and it just sounds like everything else. But it's like, but they made everything else sound like the Beatles is actually what it is. But you just don't know because you're the kid and you only know what you know.
And when you talk about like people outselling them or doing certain things in like different genres and things like that as well, like the outlets to get the record or to get my product was so now everybody can shop from their couch. So of course you're gonna sell 10,000 more units than people ever sold in certain situations, or beat out the previous number one.
I mean, they're probably more record stores too. In general, music grew as a fucking industry as the industry grew.
But even with no record store, I don't even have to go anywhere.
Now,
Like, I can get whatever your product is from walking down the street. I can get it.
just change the subject. I'd asked you a long time ago who your least favorite matchup was, when as far as guarding somebody. Do you remember who you told me?
I don't know. There's a couple. I don't know.
Well, you think about that because I wanted to
I
ask.
hated the bigger guys. I hated the big guys.
Well, you told me Manu Ginobili was a.
Manu Ginobili was hard to guard, actually.
He's a big motherfucker.
Like, he was same thing. He was a Euro guy. His style of play was so different than everything else.
It's like driving in the left lane, right? You
like
had to
all
like kind of
the
adjust.
Euro steps and all the way people play now, the tricky shit. He was doing that already. Like he looked like he was falling down half the time. Like
They do a lot of that. What is it? Trying to play the fucking referees almost a
taking
little
charge
bit.
and flopping.
Yeah, that's what you call it, flop. Yeah. So this might be a stupid question to ask.
No
but
such thing.
At what point when you were playing basketball did you start seeing it more like chess? Because it seems like the way that you're describing things is way more like
Complex
obviously
and
it's like you're talking like
turns
inside
into
baseball.
science or art,
The science, exactly, the science. So
Yeah.
when did you start seeing basketball as a science? Was that a kind of a young thing for you, or were you really naturally good at it, and then maybe once your natural abilities were getting met by other people at that same time, then you had to like kick it to the next gear? Is that what it was?
There you go. So that's what happened. So like I think I had a lot of natural ability, but like I also played so much. So like I just didn't know how to explain it to you then. I just played so much that stuff started to look like it was natural, but I literally played basketball every other hour before he saw me.
Yeah.
So like and then like you said, as I get older and you start to meet as talented people, just as talented people, you got to figure out a way to separate again. So one, I got to work some more. And then two, I got to study this guy. I got to be like, well, he likes to go left. He likes to do this. He likes to do that. You got to start breaking stuff down. And then you got to be like, I got to play with 4 other guys too. So I need to know what the other 4 guys do well so I can use them.
That's insane,
you know
man.
what I mean?
That's
So, like,
a heavy level of like internal team management and shit. Like you'd probably be a great manager. You know what I mean? If you
I
decided
took pride in being a good teammate though. Like I tried to be. Like so one of the reasons why my strength became 3-point shooting is because I saw the trend of the game and the type of players I was playing with. So I was playing with Darren Williams, and then I played with Kyrie Irving. These are guys that are ball handlers and penetrators and point guards. So I was like, to help my team, I need to be able to shoot that ball better from the three-pointer. One, I create space. 2, I get to stay on the floor if I'm a compliment to the best player on my team, which extends my career also.
This might be a weird question, but like, so was there ever anything that you read or maybe learned that wasn't basketball related, but that really stuck with you that helped you maybe understand the basketball game more? Like it maybe opened your mind or maybe gave you a different perspective on something that you were dealing with at the time?
I think for me, like both sides, like it's intertwined. Like I see basketball, like because it has been my life, like that's who I was. I see how it helps in real life and how things kind of like coexist. I learned, like I said, being a young kid going to the league, I learned how to deal with people going through that. So like just dealing with the league and dealing with understanding and paying attention and watching and how to talk to people and not necessarily manipulate it, but understand who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And know that this can only
Let
go
them
as
not
far as
manipulate
it's gonna go.
you,
Exactly.
kind of
So
more.
be
Yeah.
on it. So I learned to just kind of like be alert and watch and, you know, shut up sometimes too. Like,
So
but as far as like a certain thing that I thought that I took into that, I don't know if there's a certain thing. I think my upbringing helped me come out of it with my hands clean. Like there's a reason why you don't read no articles on the internet about me. Like, because I, you know what I mean? Like I think there's some of that. No offense to anybody that did get in trouble.
Did your parents like kind of instill that at a young age, kind of like that caring about your reputation, I guess, or something like that, or just natural?
Just not even like reputation, just like who I wanted to be. Like, and that's not say they sat me down. It was like, this is the type of people we are, but just from watching them and then watching people around me and from a young age, I had a real sense of like, I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do.
Oh, that's
like,
fucking dope.
You know what I mean? Like you're not changing me. Like,
yeah.
And if I do something that I didn't used to do, it's because I actually had interest in it and I explored it. So like, it's not because of your influence. It's like, oh, well, that might suit me. But like, if I know, like, my sister talked about it the other day. I know what I'm not gonna do first. There's a set of things I know I won't do.
I think people need to learn that before they learn what they like, because you can't even learn what you like until you learn what you don't like, because that's more powerful and stuff. And sometimes you'll trick yourself into thinking, oh, maybe I would like this.
Exactly.
You know, maybe.
So like I go places and I know there's already a list of things I know absolutely are not gonna happen. So so like it's easy to go almost anywhere.
That makes, you're not opening yourself up to a bunch of different fucking like copper. So some people might even give you shit and be like, oh, you're limiting yourself. But it's like, nah, I'm not. I'm actually just protecting myself. I'm like, but
because once you form the picture of what I want to be, now I know what things will limit me from getting to that picture. So like, it's not that those things don't help me get to what I want. So I know I'm not gonna do them. Like.
Yeah,
I know that.
It seems like that maybe helped you with like your training and shit too. It's like it made you get so. You say you've been doing music for a long time, right? So when did you start? When did you start doing your music?
So I always I always wrote.
Yeah,
I always wrote. Like I had a natural thing with writing, just from my. I shouldn't say a natural thing, but like I always wrote from a certain place. That's what I should say.
Yeah, a natural love for it. Maybe it was like you. It's, as long as you remember, you always liked to write. Maybe you didn't have a natural thing for it. But yeah.
And obviously, like with your boys, you freestyle on the bus, going to games. We used to do that at school, things like that. Always was in the music, singing the choir in church, like the upbringing with that. And then I played the piano a little bit in 8th grade. But then I got to Utah after I got drafted. My second year, one of my teammates was making music. I had never actually been in a studio. He was like, yo, I'm going to the studio. And I was like, I was interested. I wanted to go see. I wanted to go. So I went with him. And like we used to freestyle and all that still at this time. He was like, yo, you should go in the booth. And I was like, hell no. Like, I don't need to go in there. Like, what am I, like, he was like, no. He's like, the worst thing that happen is you go in there, it's whack, and we delete it.
Yeah, right?
Like, true. Like, so I go in there, and I remember, like, I felt nervous like I was going into a basketball game. It was the weirdest feeling. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I like, stepped on cords and unplugged shit.
Straight up. Like I mean, because you got to think, like, you're out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like you are the dude on your team, so it's like, okay, I'm doing this other thing, and it's very vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. And what am I going to say? And then my thoughts, the way I think is going to be personal. Like that's just how I am. That's how I express. So I go in, I rap my little 8 bars or whatever, and I come out, and I hear myself through the speakers. The first time I hear myself through the speakers, it was like, that's it. I was looking for this.
Yeah,
It's like I found basketball again. It was like the same feeling. And I recognized the freedom in it because I had the freedom from basketball from that. Because I solely play basketball simply because I love it. Like that bullshit they tell you basketball, not your identity. I'm a hooper. That's who I am. Yeah. That's what I do. I solve many problems playing basketball.
What?
Is it still on?
No. Yeah, he's not. Yeah. That's for real. So now you're like, I'm a rapper. Or
I mean, not even now. Me, like I've always been all of these things. Like I'm still in the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays at UTSA. I train some of the players that play there. I still hoop in my backyard like I did when I was 8, 9 years old. My kids, like, and I make music. And I was making music throughout the time I was in the league. It's just I had a day job, so you can't really maneuver.
Shit,
like
Rocky is still on the line.
Still on.
Rocky, you still there?
Yeah, man, I'm still here.
glad you're sticking with us, brother.
All right, Doug. Well, I'm gonna hang up on you because I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some Mas Fresco. You got a last question for Mr. Mas Fresco?
Mas Fresco, man. No, man. I just congratulations on your NBA career, man. That's cool of you for doing this. This
fuck
podcast.
You. It ain't cool.
It's cool of them for having it.
This is a great show. You talking about? You're right.
Yeah,
though.
I mean,
it's really cool over being here.
It's weird that people want to talk to me.
Yo, Rocky, you got one last question from a man?
All right. Man, I'm gonna let you guys go. Y'all guys have.
So, what date are you hosting the next Ape Shit?
Oh, it's in 2 weeks. I'll be hosting it.
2 weeks. Rocky's gonna be over there hosting Ape Shit. This man is gonna rock the house. You gonna rock the house, Rocky?
I gotta get out, man. I haven't.
Yes, sir.
Seen
Yes,
Bub
sir.
yet.
I'm gonna. Yeah. Oh, okay. Real quick. One last question is, I was thinking about it earlier, but yeah, 2 weeks from now, I'm rocking the house. Hell yeah. 2-time champ. By the way, one more time.
You gotta stop showing up with 20 people.
No,
yeah, when you take the crowd, you get the votes.
Start showing up with 20 people.
I'm joking, Rocky. I'm joking.
Nah, I'm just kidding, man. Hey, so I don't know if this is like touchy subject now, but like when you first got your contract and paid, like did people come to you and that you have to tell them no, like about
100%.
money? Like,
100%.
did people come to you?
For a long time, years.
Yeah.
It took years for that to stop.
Yo.
It took enough no's that people were like, well, I'm not getting nothing, so it's gonna have to stop. Like, say straight up, like it's just.
Did you enjoy the no's at first, or were the no's hard,
No,
and
it
did
was
you enjoy
hard.
them later?
It's hard because like you think about. One, I don't know nothing about money, my own money. Like I've never had any. I'm 18.
Yeah.
So like, I
That's a fucking good point. I remember when I was 18, my uncle gave me like 10 G's that I had in like he didn't give it to me. I had to like go like, oh, I want this now because I'm 18. Because he put it in like an IRA or some shit. Yeah. I blew that in 2 weeks. 10 G's in fucking 2 weeks. So I can only imagine.
Yeah. So like, I don't know anything about money. I've never even actually seen money besides the lunch money I get or like birthday money that I get. And then you step into this world where it's nothing but money. Like that's all everybody talks about. Even the conversations on the plane with players, they talk about the next contract and this and the deals and this. Like it's always about money. So like I'm, like I don't even know what's really going on at the time. My parents is taking care of a lot of it and helping me. We got a financial guy to help. But like people just hit me. I'm like, bro, I don't even know how to send it.
Oh, well, when you were 18, you
I don't even know how to send a wire. Like, I can't give you money. I don't even know how to get to it. Like, I just know I got a debit card and a credit card.
That's wild, man.
When I see you, I'll hook you up.
Yeah, you see me, I'll take you to the ATM.
Yeah, so it's like, at what point? So it sounds like when you were first doing it, you were kind of like, "Yo, I don't know this. I don't want to."
I'm out. I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, later, Rocky. Love you, boss.
Right,
Stay safe, man. Congrats.
Take it easy, Rock.
So it's like, did you have them handling your shit, kind of?
So that's what I'm saying. We had a financial guy and my parents, and I'm just learning as I go in the beginning of that. Luckily, I don't make. I mean, I make some money. It's like I can say what it's $400,000. Like the first year, my first year.
Wow.
Which is not like what the big contract, and the money's grown so much now from then. Like the money they getting now is not even heard of when I come in the league. So like you see guys max contracts getting $200 million. Like max contracts at this time is like 60, 70, 80.
Only people hitting anything like that were Shaq and
they wasn't even getting that much then. It wasn't that much. Like go look up Michael Jordan's earnings from basketball.
Oh, his biggest contract was like $93 million, I think.
No, I think that might have been his total.
Oh, really?
Like there's no from basketball. He made a bunch of money everywhere else, but his basketball contracts, like they're not. And I might be wrong. It might be, but there's nowhere near what these guys are doing now. So like the $400,000, luckily, is not enough for like some big financial company to come and rob me. And like, so I got time to like before I start making some real money to like figure out what's going on. Like
my question was the craziest thing you've seen someone just like blow like money on?
Oh, that's a great question.
To the point where you were looking like, man, bro, you got too much money.
I don't know. I don't really have I've seen a thing, but you like guys live a lifestyle like this private planes. It's
probably just like a lot of it,
playing
right?
Blu-ray and poker. Like it's like I'm not trying to like blow up the spot, but like the guys make a lot of money. You know how much they make. We can look it up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like and the sad thing about it gets normal.
Like just wasting that much money, or not wasting,
not even
just
wasting
like,
it. Just the lifestyle of it. It's just what you live in. So when you done playing, like that's a thing that. Even if you made a bunch of money, you don't want to live like that. Like it's just so crazy. So like even like us going to games, like every flight's private.
Yeah. Did you ever touch
like,
your toes in that? Like where you're like, you like wanted to like at least taste the, because that's a wild thing where it's like the idea of like, oh, well, you're here, you got to do this. You know what I mean?
And you do some things. Like I did some things for the sake of like there would never be another time I'd be able to do this
right? Like I could totally see that.
Took on one of our anniversaries, I took my brother, his fiance at the time, my wife, my kids, a couple other friends. We took a private jet to Anguilla. Just because I knew there was not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's
at this
legit.
point, I'm at the apex of this shit.
Yeah.
Making the most money I ever made. I've saved some already coming up. I'm probably not going to play another 10 years, maybe a handful of years after this, which is what it was. And it's like, let's do this now while we can, and it don't hurt.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
So it's also got to be like kind of fun to have that exciting experience, because it's like if you're just doing that every fucking week, then it probably don't mean nothing. But if you're just doing it like
my whole life for this point.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing
you deserve
this shit
it. Like
exactly.
This is what you're imagining while you're shooting the fucking basketballs.
I told somebody the first vacation I really felt like I was at didn't happen until I was done playing.
Oh, wow.
Because I would be on vacation worried about did I work out, couldn't eat this, got to get back, get the schedule ready to go work out again. Like,
what was your first vacation when you finally did it?
Well, when I was done playing, it wasn't my first, but we went to Turks and Caicos.
You said your first one that you were there.
With the family. Remember, your parents went with us. Dez came, my parents came, my sisters came, not my brother, but my sisters came, and that was the first one I went on where I didn't have to be back.
Did you gain some weight?
Kids were there. Nah, I didn't actually.
Nah.
But I love to swim. I swam the whole time. I wasn't working out, but like I was active. But I ate whatever I wanted though.
Hell yeah,
like,
dude.
You know what I mean? Like,
what was the first thing that you're like, man, fuck it, I don't gotta work no more. I'm gonna eat this right here.
So like now, I don't think twice about like when my kids want to have a cupcake and I don't eat it with them. Like, are they like, Daddy, you gonna get a cookie? Like, I know that sounds like boo hoo, but like, you know, like
no, that is. I mean,
like we go do stuff and they're like, oh, they want to get some cookies, and I'll get it for them. And they're like, you gonna have some? Like, nah, I'm good. Like,
it makes them feel bad because then they're like,
they don't know why.
Eating?
They're just like, what are we?
Like,
why you don't want
Daddy's body is a business.
Daddy's the reason
I'm like
why
Schwarzenegger over here.
Daddy's body bought the cookies. So like, but like now, like, you know, like we, and you can explore more with food too. I don't have to worry about like, you know, certain things.
You're like, Daddy wants some cupcakes too. Let's get a couple boxes.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
That's fucking dope, man. So
I've been noticing you been eating donuts and stuff lately.
Yeah. I know, and you know, you see me on both sides, so you know,
So
like, who's this new CJ you got here?
Yeah.
So I really want to talk about this album.
Pie when you saw me a couple days ago.
Yeah, you've been
kind of pie?
He's been getting into cooking a lot, man.
Yo, shit, dude, you're gonna get fat. I like that, dude. You're gonna get good.
I still
fat.
work out though.
Yeah,
he was saying, he's like, so you got the home gym or either way.
Yeah.
So what's that? So I really want to talk about this album, man. So it's Everything Is Taught, and I was only able to listen to a couple of tracks. I've been fucking busy the past couple of days, but your shit's good, man. Your shit's really good. I highly suggest if you guys are listening to this, definitely go check out Mas Fresco. I think you kind of find a couple tracks on YouTube, but it looks like most of it's on Apple Music.
There's some on YouTube, Apple Music, everything on Tidal, everything on Spotify. Like we said, since the start of this year, we've been releasing a song every other Wednesday. So like a song a month, basically, essentially like that. So you can go. They all those singles are on Apple Music, so you'll find all that new stuff too. And there's one coming out this coming Wednesday also.
So I got the Everything Taught, and you guys go check that out. Yo, is there a place for them to follow you?
Mas Fresco on everything. Twitter,
Mas
Instagram.
Fresco. MASFRESKO. SCO. I'm a fucking
I got lucky.
retard.
I don't know how it wasn't taken but I had my Twitter. So I got before Twitter like blew up. When it first came out, I was like, I'm not getting on that shit. Like, why would I get on that? Like, they was like, it's for celebrities, and they were making it and all that. And then everybody got on.
And then y'all fired.
And then, and then I got on for basketball purposes for like all that stuff. And it was like CJ Miles 34. And it was like this, you know, this.
A lame one.
Yeah, it was like this, whatever. And I was like, man, I'm sick of this. I got off of it. I deleted all my social media. And then when I came back, I'm like, if I'm going to go back and deal with all the shit that come with it, I might as well be me.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, I looked up different ways to say different things, looking for names, whatever. And then like, it wasn't even supposed to be a rap name. It just turned into that because I was putting out music at the same time.
So what does Mas Fresco mean?
More fresh.
More fresh, I knew Mas means more.
Yeah. So then people assumed that it was for music and all these different. And I was like, no, that was just like my name wasn't my name anymore because it was my basketball. So CJ Miles was basketball. And I was like, I am a hooper, but there's so many more layers to this.
Yeah.
How can I portray that?
So
then he put on the identity of a Latin rapper.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
How can it be truly me?
Fall right into San Antonio for real. And
so I really like the first track off of this. I obviously usually put it first because it's like, you know, the freestyle. But if, I want to play this album, but I want to start with like it's kind of a stupid question, but if there was one track off this album that you're like, all right, this is kind of give you an idea of what I am, what I'm thinking of. Yeah, so we got
all the music's running together.
Quarantine, Ghetto Gospel, For Real, Mama, What If I Love, and TMI and Victor Freeze. I'm already gonna play Quarantine off the first one, but if there's another track, I'm gonna play after that.
I don't know. That one's special to me because that was the first one I had the time to only do music because it was during the pandemic.
Yeah, I
had surgery on my wrist. I got waved. I was at home, like in that closet in the front of the house up there.
Yeah. And
now at nights, everybody would go to bed and I'd be up till 4 just reading, writing. Because I was also in the transition phase. Like I was trying to decide if I was going to keep playing after the injury, not. And I was just dealing with a bunch of shit, like basically.
Yeah.
And that's how I deal with shit. And that's what that came from. Like, so I don't really know. For me, the whole thing's special because it's a specific time of my life.
Yeah.
A real time. It's not just songs I was making just to kind of get through to keep in practice. Like that was like the mama song is about me about to have my kid. Like,
shit.
So that's what took me to making a song about my mom and just speaking on my upbringing and how I grew up. And Ghetto Gospel is like literally like being a preacher's son, but loving hip hop. So like, it's kind of like looked at like, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like not talk down, but it's just like, well, what is he rapping about? So like, I'm like, I still speak the language I speak from where I grew up at.
Yeah.
But I also have the values that come from that church in the country.
I want to play Ghetto Gospel real quick. I want to hear this one real quick because let me see it real quick. Here we go. All right.
This is the second stanza
Ghetto
again.
Gospel.
Shout out to the guy talking. His name is Akil J. We've done a lot of songs together.
Searching through books.
Great dude,
Hey.
talented dude. Wrote songs for Neo, Koya Ray, everything.
Trying to find. Searching through. Yeah. Searching through books. Trying to find the answer. Reading all the scripture. Ghetto gospel. Freed from your cage.
Yeah,
Every page.
yeah.
Hoping for change. Hope still ain't can.
I heard you've been searching for substance and weight, something to hold you down. A truthful sound, breadcrumbs to your robe and crown. I'm on the mound, slinging trill 100 miles an hour. This my power, my scripture with modern picture. I speak from a place the world's forgotten, with a dream the same as Martin's. It's all or nothing, we don't do no partials. Is you in or out? I can't take the bait, cause now they snakes. They don't look like snakes. Your lack of patience tells a lot about your faith. That's not to say that you should tolerate disrespect in any form or way. Just saying maybe you should pray before you make them pray. They might be in your way for you to educate.
Searching through books, trying to find the answer. Reading all the scripture. Ghetto gospel, freed from your cage. Every page,
Yeah,
hoping for change.
yeah.
Hope still ain't can.
Never switch up, even when it's dark. Know yourself, maybe then you could play your part. Nothing for stardom, it's all for the stars, all for the scars. Being caused from them inherited wars. They need divorce and then a source to be reinforced and then endorsed. Careful with applause, cause niggas is lost. They clap cause you clap, now we at war. But how they see us, which leads to how they treat us. I pray for all our leaders, cause most of them ain't leaders. So to all my dogs, they need us. I only flock with brothers of a certain doctrine. We just happen to be on some fly shit. Ain't no tips in my vision, the slightest incision still leads to ripping. Pay attention, the greatest crime is to play with time, cause all it take is one time. Dark around one time, they never squeeze one time. Inches show run time, no matter the season. Fuck happen to eat.
Searching through books, trying to find the answer. Reading all the scripture. Ghetto gospel, freed from your cage. Every page, hoping for change. Hope still ain't can.
Tell 'em I do it for real. Tell 'em I do it with skill. Tell 'em I'm telling the truth. Tell 'em I told it to you. Tell 'em I got it. Yeah. Tell 'em I got it. Yeah. Don't never go tell 'em I'm real. Cause them niggas say that they real. And them niggas never be real. I do not move how they move. I do not build how they build. We put some truth in the sound. Grew it up straight from the ground. Tell 'em I told you to pray. I be confessing my faith. I might get played at the gates. Tell 'em I'm down for the bros. If I'm around, I'm on roll. If I ain't, I'm on roll. I stand on all of my toes. You got a name to respect. I do not play with my breath. I got a house to protect. Too many mamas ain't wise. Men that can't tie their own ties. You say you married the grind. Then you don't give her no time. Then you complain about shine. Then you start hating on mine. That won't change none of our lives. Tell 'em I do it for real. I do it with skill. Tell him I'm telling the truth. Tell him I told it to you. Tell him I got it. Yeah. Tell him I got it. Look, this for my brothers who wrestle with the times, but they special. This for the hustle, this for the suckers. Call themselves hot in they fangs. Who won't be seen with no lames. Don't want no parts of their ways. How could they sing what they saying? Exchanging their soul for the fame. I swear the truth will be told. I swear I never will fold. I only say what I roll. Don't ever do what I don't. Can't ever be what I ain't. How could they frolic and hate? How could they shoot him? He's 8. I hope you find you a mate. And with the love you escape. I hope you go before God. Let him turn 2 into 1. I hope you had you a son. Then little girls just for the fun. I wish you health, I wish you wealth, I wish you everything, I wish for self, I wish to be, I wish to shine, I wish for beats, I need to rhyme, I wish for roadies, I need more time, I need a steering wheel made out of pine, I need a truck to lead tracks in the ground, I need to shut the whole neighborhood down, I need to make it on home, the mama should bury her own, they say they protect but they don't, the laws change but they won't, yeah. Tell him I, 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 tell him I do it for real. Tell him I do it with skill. Tell him I'm telling the truth. Tell him I told it to you. Tell him I got it. Tell him I got it. Yeah. Been at it.
All right, man. So that last track was For Real. The one before that was Ghetto Gospel. Let's give it up. So that's Everything is Taught.
Yeah.
Everything is
It
taught.
was a concept.
Yeah.
Because during the pandemic, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like, just from racial stuff.
Oh shit,
to
I like that. Everything is
So
okay,
like
I get
it
that.
was just the concept of like everything that is going on is taught. Like this has been happening. You show everybody how you want to be treated. Like you show people that. You speak to people certain ways. You tell them a lot. You telling people everything.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, kids learn things from watching people before them do it. So like everything is just a cycle. Every type of
And you
social
can't
thing.
choose the habits that they pick up. Really, it's
Don't
like
get to choose.
you're
so
like
you got to just be careful what you show them.
yeah, that's fucking deep. So while we were listening to this last track, so last one was For Real. You said it was the most well received track and shit.
Yeah.
I thought, I honestly, man. So definitely go check this album out. He's saying some real shit, and fucking the wordplay is really good. Like, because also it's like it just makes you think. You know what I mean? Like it's got really good introspective shit. You can tell that you really think about a lot of the words that you put down and stuff like that. But you were saying something really interesting about your song process, and it was that when you first started, you're 18 and you were realizing that a lot of people that were making music weren't really making music relating to your life. And so you're like, oh, if I'm gonna make music, I'm gonna make music for myself and start talking about that. So what was the first song you made that that you were like, all right, this is the one for me?
Oh man,
right?
That's crazy. That's a so I don't think I necessarily figured it out until years later though. I think I was trying, but like we were talking about before, I didn't know who I was. I knew I wanted to make music for me, but I didn't know who I was. So I think all the songs were just me trying to figure out, because like I would say I come from a church background. So there's the first song that I had on my MySpace was called like Find God. And it was like this storytelling.
Shout out
to MySpace.
Like you don't want to like. It's weird. Like, were you doing that for your dad more, or was that for you?
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know. I just know at that time this is what I do know. This is what the most information I have right now is on this.
Yeah.
And it is something that I thought was important. I do think, and I don't know if that's the way I would say it to somebody now, the way I did in that song, because I've learned so much and you see how people's approach, and everybody does not relate to that, let's call it spirituality, the same way. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not my place to tell you how to do it.
So you say your dad was a preacher?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, this is kind of a weird question, but what denomination?
Non-denominational, so like Church of Christ, like.
See, I don't even know what the fuck that means. Every time people say non-denominational, I'm always like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't even know if I have a clear
way to name it.
Yeah.
Isn't it basically like you just follow Christ, but you don't get caught up in all the other shit, pretty much?
Because everything's split because of.
If you read the Bible and you agree with
Yeah, the good
most-
shit.
Yeah, if you agree with
Honestly, it's probably what everything should be. It should be read the
Yeah.
Bible.
I guess, I mean, yeah, Jesus
learn
wasn't
what it is.
denominational. He was
Yeah.
fucking. He was a Jew. He wasn't even
And
Christian.
the term, yeah. So the term, like everything after that, is made by the people after Jesus. Like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't call people Christians. Like that's because they're following Jesus Christ. So like
the
everything is
Romans.
made- yeah. So
The Romans
everything
called
is
his
after.
followers Christians.
Exactly. So everything is after.
So I just discovered this a couple months ago or whatever. But you ever heard of Zoroastrianism? Very fucking interesting. I think you dig that, especially since you're a spiritual dude. So basically, the three magi that met Jesus, they were Zoroastrians. So Zoroastrianism is kind of where they first invented the whole idea of a one singular God, a monotheistic God, and also a Satan, kind of a monotheistic evil or whatever. So much to the fact that actually one of the main Zoroastrian kings is mentioned in the Bible because he released the Jews, and it was after that the Jews came up with a word for God, Yahweh, because they made him a monotheistic entity. So it's interesting that Zoroastrianism has such a fucking connection to. So when we're talking about non-denominational, it's fascinating how literally even before Christianity, which comes from Judaism, the Jews didn't even have a full understanding of their own denomination. It was based off of almost just their own, I guess, experience in the world and shit like that. I don't know, but that's interesting, the non-denominational thing. Did you ever think about becoming a preacher when you were growing up? I always feel like
I don't know. I think I somewhat am in my own right, like just not in the traditional way, and I don't think it's so much. Since we on this, I believe that when we look at like the story of the Bible, like the three magi, I think it's a bad game of telephone.
Yeah.
And I think that's how everything got. I think everybody's trying to tell the story of something that's unexplainable. And I think they were all in different parts of the world, region. They all had their influence and different things that spoke to them that showed them there was more than themselves, which is true. Now, how you figured it out is not on me to tell you how. And I think we started fighting because it's like, well, my way is the way that you should figure it out. And his way is the way, or he saw his way was, and because he thought this. And I was like, I think of the same way I look at it with like, man, I think you figure it out based on, I think you get spoken to or spoken through, however, based on the route that you're going. And I think that's how that go. And I think that there's a place for people that believe in Christianity. I think there's a place for people that are Catholic. I think there's a place for Muslim. I think if what you say is true, there's one, and we're all trying to do this. Now, when you get to when it's all different, then that's a different thing.
Well, you'd think also God would probably be the only one to have the power to speak one message in multiple different ways, like at the same time throughout history with the same. So it's like maybe we aren't even supposed to understand all the pieces of God. It's almost like the way we're in a basketball team. It's like you can't be all the players. You know, you got to be one player, and that's what makes the system and shit. So it's kind of like each philosophy or religion, I feel, helps you. Like I'm saying, it's good to explore those different lanes of religion, because a lot of times it helps almost reinforce what you've already felt about your own spirituality, but then it also can give you a different just perspective on some other shit like that. And I think that I believe that we were all born with the truth somehow, and then just as we get older, it gets scattered and shit. So we got to find those little
I'm with
Dragon
you on
Balls.
that. And then you think about the fact that nothing can be completely understood as just being built. So we're still very much building the idea of actually who God is and what God is. That's a thing that
maybe
we're never
God's
gonna,
evolving with us too. I mean, because He created us, so it's
everything is growing, and it's we kind of look at it like everything is written out, everything is known for the rest of the time, and I don't think that that's the way that it goes, because
I think it's very insulting to the idea of God, the thing that we have,
because that means that there is no free will.
Or not even that, but
And
it's
that's what
the
we
thing
claim
that
to have.
you have a bunch of fucking people that just a bunch of humans that can understand what God's will is to a definitive point is just insulting to the idea.
I knew that was going to happen because God said it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Or it just makes them not have to give a fuck about any of their bad shit. Because well, God wanted me to beat my wife, because why would He have created
and if you and you can
why
look
would
at
she made her burn the steak if you don't?
man, and you can look at this and break it down and think that that's how the whole thing got started in the first place, was to have a place to put the shit that you didn't want to deal with.
No, that's
what the devil comes into play for so many people, is that I don't want to deal with my shit. The devil made me do it.
You ever seen the movie The Invention of Lying with Ricky Gervais? It's a fascinating story because the whole idea is about lying, but if you watch the whole thing, it basically evolves into religion was the giant lie that you told people that like were about to die or had something bad happen to them. You gave them this big lie that helped them get through it. And it was interesting because the whole premise of the story is Ricky Gervais is the only person in this world that has the ability to lie. So like if a criminal comes up to you and is like knocks on your door or whatever, and you open up the door, they're like, hey, who are you? I'm like, oh, I was hoping you weren't here. I was trying to rob you. Sorry about that. Because there's no lying there. But Ricky Gervais is the only one that's able to lie. So he's like on a deathbed with some like old lady and shit. And she's like, oh, tell me it's not going to be all over. He's like, no, there's a great person in the sky and you're going to go over to this beautiful heavenly place. And everybody that you've ever felt, that you loved is going to be there with you and they're going to hug you. And you start thinking about it like, yeah, from that perspective, it does seem like a little bit of a silly thing. But at the same time, the whole idea of creation, like the idea of being a human is fucking silly. Like I was even just talking to Bob.
It's all speculation too when you really want to break it down. Like, and that's not me saying I don't believe in God or I don't believe. I'm just saying in all actuality, if you look, it's all speculation.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell my chick. Because I had this one question was like, what's the most misunderstood thing about you? I said one thing. She's like, I don't think that's it. It's something else. But mine was that when it comes to spirituality and God, like I try to take it as seriously as I can, but also I have enough knowledge to know that it also can be completely bullshit. And honestly, the faith comes in the fact that it is probably completely bullshit, but you have faith in this thing.
Exactly.
And then certain things kind of you're like, wow, shit is kind of getting worse, that people are falling away from God, or just the idea of a higher purpose. It feels like nobody has a higher purpose anymore. It seems like maybe that was what kind of drove you through your NBA stuff, and what keeps you with your training and your mindset is like you had a goal, you had a thing that you wanted to achieve and stuff. And I feel like maybe social media dilutes that.
You look at it like this. So like, so imagine, I shouldn't say imagine, this is what's happening. So imagine we got God, right?
Yeah.
Like, and as far as we know, everybody that we've ever known in generations been born into like they've been told who God was, right? It was already like there's nobody you've been able to talk to. There was a time before God.
It's like a planet.
Yeah,
it's just
already
there.
it's there. Yeah. This is what God is. This is church. This is religion. There's no getting around that. Like you just got to pick one so people can stop getting on your nerves. Like,
yeah.
Right. So
like a gang.
So you're told who God is, and then the dude that told you who God is and says he's the closest to God and represents God touches children. Mm-hmm. Why would I
follow that? Yeah. Because
so the more and more now you see that, the more and more representatives you see that claim to be, and it's more so not, somebody's got to protect God. If you look at it that way, at some point, like somebody's got to be like, look, this is it.
Yeah.
Let's do actually this and stop saying that you are that for the purpose of it to be treated like God.
Well, and so that's the wild shit too, where it goes into, so when we really get into like, when you're talking about masculinity and shit like that, and when we get into God even, this whole idea of this loving God that just is like, hey, everything's good, let it roll. That's not God. That is not the Christian God. That ain't any kind of form of actual God and stuff like that. It's this weird business perversion of like this. It's almost like the smiley face or some shit like that. It's like, it's not even, so God is supposed to be struggles. God is supposed to be pain and stuff like that. It's like, you aren't supposed to be able as a human to understand or even want to do that stuff, and that is that's weird shit. I know people that will throw their whole lives away and live in a fucking Jeep because of God and all that, and then they start talking about me about God. I'm like, this ain't in the Bible. You're talking about some alien shit, that your own philosophies and stuff, and it's like, don't blame God for that, because he ain't. Who are you? You ain't even worshiping.
I think you got to figure out what is like how you get spoken to. You got to figure out what your thing is. Like, what's your work, your purpose? That's where the purpose thing comes in. So, like, a lot of us got jobs, like, right? That's how we make our money.
I mean, we all got jobs. We all have a job.
Your thing. What's your thing that you get spoken to? The thing that you got to do. The thing that you like. Obviously, comedy is a thing for y'all. Like, y'all do. You're not doing this for money. You just talked about being the only person that got paid. So they let me know you don't always get paid, but you still keep going.
I took that hit for free.
So, like, this is what I'm saying. So this is a thing that's you're being spoken to somehow, and you're being able to relay something somehow. Like, this is what most people don't find, because, like you said, internet, everything is scattered. Everything is like, and the only thing you can think about is like, man, I got to make some money.
Yeah.
And most people can't make money with their thing.
Well, what
Too honest.
you guys were saying was like about
That's a fucking interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Too honest. What do you mean by that?
It's too like it's not entertainment. So it's like
Oh, it's like preaching.
So it's like when people feel like it's preaching.
it's too matter of fact.
Yeah, because people feel like it's preaching because it makes like we go back to my music. We talk about me making music for myself. Like the things and the topics that I might end up on are not topics that people want to hear because it's not entertaining. That's gonna make me deal with some shit that I don't want to deal with. My music is me dealing with that shit. That's
Stuff
my
that
thing.
force you to self-reflect.
Yes, that's my thing. Self-reflection.
And you almost, in my opinion, as the entertainer or as the instrument, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You take whatever that is and then you turn it into something that is palatable.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's the goal, right? You
Yeah.
try to make it to a point where it can be broken up and not seem like you're getting smacked over the head with like you're fucking up your life. Like you don't want to tell people that and that's why
People
I
already
write-
feel that way. People already
Exactly.
feel.
I don't need to tell you that you didn't do what you said you were going to do today.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you that you said you wanted to lose 20 pounds and you ate a 6-pack of donuts. Like you know that. I don't need to tell you to
He's
go.
talking about me on that one.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't have to remind you of that, but what I can do is share me fucking up. So you can see that you're not the only one that's fucking up. That's what I can do. That's why it's so from an introspectual, I'm messing up the language right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Introspective, yeah.
introspective place I write from because I think the sharing is where we figure that out. Because it's like, oh, I felt like that too. Or this is happening to me right now. Somebody else is dealing with this.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing I think the beauty of it is. And that's why music is turned into this thing that's like numbing. Let's go get hoes. Let's go drink.
Yeah.
Get high, smoke this. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point there's gotta be a break. There's gotta be a breath taken.
Yeah.
But like, is this helping me? Like, am I still doing the thing I actually want to do while I'm doing this?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's deeper than that because the things that they guide you toward are the exact opposite
Of what you need.
yeah, what you need.
Nothing horizontally. Because you put your happiness into things that you need to be connected to vertically and not horizontally. And when I say vertically, I mean in the head. I can mean if you believe there's a man in the sky sitting in heaven, however you want to put it. But if it's horizontal, if I put my happiness in this desk is going to break one day. Or it's going to tip over or something's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
gonna
that's
last.
why. So I smoke weed, but I always get frustrated. People I spend like $500 on a bong that's made out of glass. I'm like, you're just investing in $500 worth of being pissed off when that eventually breaks because it's like you're not even. It's like with a bong, it's not even like a scientific instrument. It's like you're getting more fucked up. You know what I mean? Like the more you use it, the more like you're
But
in a.
it won't, for you, it might not be like if it's not ruling you.
Yeah.
And the day it breaks, it might not be that bad for you. You be like, damn, that was $500. But it might not fuck up your week. For some people, if that thing was like, oh, come look at what I got. If that was my claim to, then that breaks. Then it's different because now.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
because you're putting yourself. Okay. So here's this poem that remember the one I showed you about the scarecrow.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you think about this because it's really short. That's the only reason I'm going to read it. But it really stuck with me in an interesting way. I had to like look it up and shit. So I'm going to read it. I was asking earlier, but I was talking over people. So it's called "The Scarecrow." It's by this dude named Khalil Gibran. You ever heard of him?
Yes.
All right. So you heard this poem before, "The Scarecrow"?
I don't know. Start reading it.
It's from the Madman. So it's once I said to a scarecrow, "You must be tired of standing in this lonely field," and he said, "The joy of scaring is a deep and lasting one, and I never tire of it." Said I after a minute of thought, "It is true, for I too have known that joy." Said he, "Only those who are stuffed with straw can know it." Then I left him, not knowing whether he had complimented me or belittled me. A year passed, during which the scarecrow scarecrow turned philosopher. And when I passed him again, I saw 2 crows building a nest under his hat. I don't know what I'm saying. It's like
The ending kind of like you.
yeah, I looked at him like, what do you think about that? But it literally took me like I had to sit down and think about that shit for a second because so you got to think about it. First off, the idea of a scarecrow is an inanimate object. It's an inanimate object that's built to, but it's built to scare. Yeah, it's built to scare crows. You know what I mean? That's its function and stuff. And he was literally saying like, in this function, I feel the most joy. And then some other person that isn't built what he's built out of is like, oh, I also share the same joy. So I can't figure out. So did the Scarecrow get like mind fucked by this dude? And then the dude also got mind fucked by the Scarecrow, and then they both came to this like impasse of like. So the Scarecrow obviously changed his ideas because he's letting the crows that once he's scared and that was his only joy of standing in this lonely field, now live in him, like live under his hat and shit like that. Even though he's an inanimate object built like he's a legit failure in his born created task of whatever. But he found a higher purpose, possibly, or through philosophy, he found madness. It's like, is philosophy
tied together?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so I think a lot of times when people go down this path of self-discovery, it's a very thin line between madness, because also the more that you become your own person, the more you become less of the group, and then you become attacked because you're not not of the group and stuff like that. So madness you can be considered mad, and what do they say in the valley of the man with one eye? He's considered mad by everybody else or some shit like that. It's like the one person.
Is it mad or blind? Something
like that. It's like in the valley of the blind, the one with one eye is king. But also, it's like what do they say? There's a lot of lines for it, but it's like when you're crazy, when you're around a bunch of crazy people, being sane is seen as crazy because they don't have the perspective of whatever or anything like that.
I also think you look at it like this too, like being pure in your being, like the Scarecrow is saying, like it's a blessing and a curse, and you're gonna be a blessing and a curse to even. I could be a blessing and a curse too, Bub, being fully in my being. And on Tuesday, I could be a blessing. On Wednesday, I could be a curse, being fully who I'm supposed to be, which is why you look at the Scarecrow, the same crows he's been scaring, they also found a haven to be able to have babies. Because, like, nothing's coming about
in his head, too. It's like they're living in his head. It's wild.
It's like also, like, another way to put it, like, it's like you look at the sun. The sun grows food, does all these perfect things for us, but then you can go stand out there and get sunburned.
But
it's still the same sun that grew the fruit, grew the vegetables, that you enjoyed on a sunny beach day that you did. It's still the same sun doing exactly what it's supposed to do, but there's going to be some days that it's going to scorch you.
Yeah.
In its full being. It's like the earth gives the sun purpose, the sun gives the earth purpose. Like,
you ever hear that?
Without the sun.
That parable of the sun and the wind? Mm-mm. Is great because it kind of reminds me of your philosophy on rap. You know how you're trying to like maybe introduce people to a little more self introspection, but without being. I think Patrice put it best. Like he wants to be righteous without being like pretentious about it. You know what I mean? You want to have some righteous honesty, but without making it a big deal. Rest in my fucking.
Can I give my take on the poem?
Please. I want to take a piss.
All right, cool. I totally didn't want you to listen to it.
I want to hear you.
No, I'm just fucking around, man.
You're going to be able to hear my piss louder than I can hear you.
Okay, so, yeah, piss quietly. But, listening to it, I was thinking when he said that only somebody else filled a straw or person filled a straw. Mm-hmm. So I think he's kind of saying, like, if you enjoy this too, then we're alike. Mm-hmm. And then when he came back and there were birds nesting in his hat, I just believe that time has passed and now he's moved on to other things. And I think it's just kind of.
And it doesn't mean he's not him.
Yeah, he's still the guy full of straw, but
yeah, he serves a different purpose.
Yeah, as things have changed, his relationships have changed, and he's now moved on to a different.
And that's not to say those crows don't grow up and come back through there one day and be like, holy shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. But like you said, the other one is he's only being filled with straw. Meaning is like if you enjoy this. And people that don't enjoy this are not built for this.
Yeah.
They're not built for this part. Like if they get tired of it, they're not built to do this. You don't get tired of what you don't get tired of what you're built to do.
Yeah.
And even on the days you might feel a little tired, like physically, you're still gonna do it.
Also, it's interesting. It was bringing up even the perspective of the crows, which I never even thought of. What is the perspective of the crows in that poem? You know? That is interesting of like being able to leave and then come back and being afraid of the Scarecrow.
Because you only know it, you saw it this way and then you leave.
You only point and shit, but I love that
Well, I think technically the crow's perspective came from him.
No, but it bounced off of you.
Out of rotation and feeling like I'm not gonna get another deal. Or the whole night, I deal with every emotion coming up, being told you wasn't good enough here, being good this day, this, that. Am I good enough? Am I not? Am I going to be able to do this? It is far-fetched. Every emotion, every reason to not get up and go do it, and I could just go to class and go and know I can go to school and get a trade job or do whatever it is. But
it's almost like you wanted that, though, right? It's like it was exciting, right?
Exactly, and that's life, right?
Yeah. That's
Why would you want it to just be like this?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's one of those weird things. Like I really do tell myself that as a comedian, because there's all these like fears of like all these fears, man, of just like trying to go out there and like hit the road and shit. But then I literally had to tell I used to get really nervous with shows. I even talked to some of my headliner friends and they still get nervous with shows, but I stopped because there was this one, it was with the Bubby Smith show and shit. When he wanted me to come up there, and it was a venue that I'd never been to. It was completely different. It was out of town and shit.
Oh, the one out in New Braunfels?
Yeah, but I told myself, like in the car or whatever, I was like, man, you've been doing this for fucking 10 years. You know what I mean? You've been doing this for so long that this actually you shouldn't even be nervous about this. You should be pissed that you ain't doing more in a weird way. Like you've been doing this for too long to be nervous about this. Why are you being nervous about this?
The brain's amazing.
Yeah, it is fucking amazing, dude. You'll get pissed off about some shit. Yeah, I mean, like, you'll be happy about some shit 1 second, and then the second second you're like, man, why are you so happy about that? You should have been fucking. That should have been what you. And then the second you get it, you're just thinking, I should have gotten that.
Yeah, think about what we do as humans so well. We forget our own track records so fast. We throw away our own track records so fast. Like, this is the worst fucking day of my life. Like, no, it's not. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bad moment right now. Like, people confuse so much of people being on highs and not looking at them as people that just dealt with the lows.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. People forget that a high is even if you're at a high in a career, it's almost the same as a drug. It's not real. It's just it's a subject of circumstance in a certain sense. You know what I mean?
And we could be on the same high and you could be miserable.
Oh shit, yeah.
Feel me? Like we could be getting the same paycheck, doing the same job.
Like having a bad mushroom trip.
You could be miserable because it could not be what you actually want.
Yeah, because you're right now. Yeah, it's exactly. It's like
it's rich people that cry every night.
Yeah, I think like, Louis C.K. put it really good about where Donald Trump is, his philosophy on how he thinks he is, where it's like Donald Trump feels like a loser unless he's like a billionaire and shit. And there are people that. They feel like. They straight up feel like if they and that goes into the masculinity thing that we were talking about earlier. I don't know if it got caught on here. I actually want to get back into that because I think that's a really good conversation. Because rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal. I think he kind of started it off. I think a lot of these bums fucking took it and like I said, turned it into some fucking female, let's sell you fucking makeup kind of shit. Even though it's not necessarily makeup, but it's let's sell you cigars. That's not the new thing. People are like, cigars. And shit.
Cigars.
And I like a good cigar. Like I understand the philosophy behind
gym
it.
membership.
But
I'm good on the cigars.
That's what I'm saying. It's also kind of gay as shit because you got the big old fucking thing in your mouth and all that, and you gotta sit there with it in your mouth for like 30 minutes. And like, am I sucking dick or am I fucking am I getting high? I don't know what I'm doing, but it's like that whole thing. But like you're saying, so you're watching a lot of these masculine not these influencers these days. You watched Sneeko, you watched Andrew Tate, you watched Fresh and Fit. What do you look at?
Andrew Tate stuff. I mean, I just see what I see. I try not to like. So like, I'm a very get to the point guy. Like when I'm looking for something, I research it and I want to get to it so I can take it and put it in my pot.
You want to get to the root. You're like, all right, I can tell this is derivative.
Building my own ideals also. Yeah. Like I want to take, because that's essentially what it is. Like, right? It's like if you gave me a toolbox, I wouldn't be able to use every tool to fix the sink. I'm going to go in the toolbox and I'm going to take what I need to fix the sink. So that's what I do. I look in these toolboxes and I take what I need to fix my sink. I don't need everything that you need. So everything, Andrew Tate's going to say some stuff that I'm going to need. And he's going to say a bunch of shit that I don't need.
Yeah.
Like, and if we can deal with that as people, it'd be a lot different. Like, he's not talking to you, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, my big issue is the people that hate him, like it's weird that they feel like they have to agree with every single thing he says. If they don't agree with anything he says, then they can't like him at all.
Yeah.
Like, I've had women like, oh, why would you even listen to that misogynist? And they just like when he went to prison, they were like, oh, well, he deserves it. It's like, you don't even know what the fuck he did.
It's like, what's his name? What's his name? The guy that's super famous now from Canada, Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
Like the same thing with him. Like, people have a hard time looking at things straight on. That's the biggest thing. They have a hard time not letting emotions put them on one side or the other. He's like, I'm not telling you how I feel. I'm telling you what I know.
Yeah.
I can feel a certain way, but that doesn't mean what I know
is right.
Exactly. So, like, I'm not saying that you're wrong for feeling this way and you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't have to do what I don't want to do or say what I don't want to say.
Yeah.
And you can't be mad because I don't bend to your rules.
I mean, you can be mad. That's the whole thing. It's
You can't be mad, but you can't attack me for it. I'm not hurting you.
People will, though. It's like, my thing is like, whether you, here's my thing. I always feel like if I'm going to go up on stage, I'm going to say some shit that's wild, and I know it's going to be wild. I got to at least have a philosophy behind what I'm saying. So when I do get that pushback, I'm not like apologizing, or I'm not like, well, you can't feel that way. Because no, my job is to evoke emotions in people. You know what I mean? So I'm evoking an emotion in you that I'm actually doing a good thing. But if I didn't, it's like if I shot the shot, you know what I mean? But if I didn't hit if I didn't swish it, all right, I get it. But I'd rather talk to you about why you were offended. And a lot of times they ain't even offended by what I was saying because they didn't hear what I said. They just heard a word that I said, and then that just shaded their entire perspective on every. They weren't even listening. They were just thinking about what they were going to tell me the second that I got off the stage.
They heard a trigger word, and that's usually a thing that nobody wants to deal with. So since we don't want to deal with it, you can't talk about it like that. That's what we do.
And people don't realize it's like, so like when I go up on stage, I'll talk about really anything because I'm biracial. People don't know that. I was raised by my grandfather was a legal Mexican. People don't fucking know that shit. But I mean, nor should they, because it ain't my fucking person. It ain't me.
Why?
But it is where. But it did shape my perspective on things, you know what I mean? And my old man is a fucking Republican, you know, who really fucking like worked his ass off and got to. I didn't even know what my old man looked like until I was like 8, really, because I saw him so little that I couldn't physically in my brain put a picture together of him. Like when he would shave his beard or not shave his beard, I wasn't able to elastically put him in my fucking brain. That's how little I saw the cat, right? And then now that I'm older and that he's older, it's like now that he has time to see me, it's like cats in the cradle and the silver spoon shit. I'm now busy. Now I'm trying to do what he taught me to do, which is always be a workaholic and shit like that. And that's the only time that I feel like I'm making him proud. But then I don't got no time to fucking hang out with him. And I'm almost like, well, you did. I feel bad about it. I'm like, well, this is what you wanted. You wanted me to fucking be, because every time I was doing my whatever shit and I had time, it's like, I don't even think that when I had time to hang out with him, he wanted to hang out with the dude that I was at that time. You know what I mean? It's like he wasn't feeling that. So when I became the dude that he wanted to hang out with, I didn't have no time to hang out with him. You know, and that's like where I'm at right now. But it's so fucking. I'm sorry, I kind of got off my own thing and shit.
Good.
But yeah, man, that is definitely a fucking weird thing about just like people's perspectives on shit and people's perspectives on life. But when it comes to that masculinity shit, I guess what bums me out is that, and I guess I was just talking to my ex. It's like, it's funny that it would be surprising to find a woman that was really into old history. You know, I've been really getting into old history, but it's because dudes just run everything and they're the dopest shit. But if you're like a chick, it's almost like that Louis C.K. joke where it's like a time machine is only for white people. Because if you get a black guy time machine, it's like anything before 1950, I'm okay. Yeah, I want to
but
go
it's
back
like when
there.
we were talking about with masculinity, like you said, like the old history is just old white dudes in wigs with slaves telling everybody what to do.
No, but they
beat the
They had black people over there doing shit, but it was just a patriarchal society and shit. But what we know, what we learned, 100%.
There was
in our country,
in our country, and what we know is what we've been taught, what we've been told.
And it's just white people. It's just white people, and also
they told us what to do. And
but when I was growing up, it was white people doing all this bad shit. So you couldn't even be like back in the day, that was good shit you were taught. You're like, man, white people came over and they made everything good. Now it's like, man, white people came over and they took everything from everybody. Watch, Remember the Titans until you get it. You know?
But it's just weird though. Like we speak on things and so much about things with nothing back up, no research,
no real facts.
Like, do you really have a view if you haven't looked at other views of the room? Like, you want to stay there. If that's what you want to do, fine. But you don't get to go jump on everything and say this is how it should be when you've not gathered any other information.
Yeah,
and that's the reason I hate this cancel culture right now.
Yeah,
because you can't have conversations with people trying to silence
you. You can though. Here's the thing. I feel bad about the people that don't have the balls to actually have a conversation with those people, because like we were just talking last night, Aaron McBride got a little pushback from that one chick that was all up on his dick, got a little pushback about one joke, but he didn't. I feel he said he did, but I was like, when he was talking about it, when I was telling him what he should have said.
When he's doing Nazi jokes?
I guess so. I don't fucking know. It don't matter. You can do a joke about anything, and if somebody has a thought process on it, you should be able to talk to them about it and let them know. But I'm saying, but
I'll try to give context to CJ.
Yeah, exactly. My bad. Yeah, so I'm just saying. I mean, it could be any joke. It could be a joke about a chick. It could be a joke about murder, abortion. It could be anything.
Yeah.
And somebody comes up to you and they can either try to have a conversation, but if they ain't even trying to have a conversation, then it's what you got to kind of deal with the fact that
this chick was feeling him before he got up on stage, started telling that joke. And then during the middle of a set, she comes out.
But I'm saying, I don't think he was feeling himself enough to even have. I think a lot of times people will go up there because, especially in this cancel culture shit, because a lot of people are realizing this right wing rift is good because they can just say the right things, but they don't actually. But the second they get a little bit of pushback, they don't want to be like. They don't want to be like, they don't want to stand on their shit. They go, oh, well, you're not allowed to get mad at me because I'm a lot of people are using the word comedian just so they can say some crazy shit. I'm like, you're not a fucking comedian because you ain't got where's the joke? They ain't got no comedy to it.
Yeah.
But also where it's like, if you are saying something and you should know that it's going to get a reaction. Don't just say shit to say shit.
But that's how you know they didn't do no research and that they just trying to get people to see.
So you can't. And that's why I feel bad because like stand-up comedians really these days are like one step above sex workers when it comes to just like how much people would just be like, hey, this is an easy thing to do, and then they get up there. And they fucking they'll say some crazy shit, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's cancel culture. That's the only reason that I didn't get a laugh." But it's like, man, I go up there, I can say anything I want to, if I believe it. You know what I mean? If I believe it and I know it's funny, I can say it because first off, they'll hear it in me. They'll know that it's coming from a place. And if any motherfucker comes up after and wants to talk to me about it, I'll talk their fucking ear off and I'll start talking about some crazy history shit that they probably don't even fucking know about.
The only way that you can tell like a joke that will be considered that can get you canceled and it be delivered right will have to be from getting research and doing things so you can make it well-rounded enough where the people that it could offend would find it funny.
Yeah, and that's the difference because like a lot of guys got up there and said goofy shit just to like shock the crowd. But then they didn't have any real takes on it. It was not.
They just wanted the reaction. They didn't want
They can't pull it back around.
Yeah.
Well, when you drop the bomb, then you got to fucking go in there and attack. You know what I mean? It's like you can't drop the bomb and then step back and be like, "Hey, I don't know what I did, guys." And shit. No, you got to
follow it up.
Who threw that grenade?
Yeah, you broke through the fucking enemy lines. Now you got to go for the fucking control center, and you got to keep on fucking moving. And hey, if you fucking lose, you lost, but at least you lost fighting. You know what I mean? It's like that's the whole thing. But these people, they know that they're gonna get a fucking reaction, and then they say some shit, and then they want society to fucking fix it for them. But it's like, no, that's not our job. Your job is to go up there, say some crazy. This is the thing. I know comedians that don't even say crazy shit, and they're fucking hilarious because they'll sneak the crazy shit in there, and by the time that you're done, you're like, holy shit, he just did a joke about such and such, but I didn't realize it because it was hidden in fucking like
he misdirected, or the take you had a joke where you were talking about something we thought it was something completely different. You do that actually a lot.
It's the Simpsons rule. So it's like if you ever watch an episode of The Simpsons, right? It never begins how it fucking even goes into. The first 5 minutes, you almost can like ignore because it has nothing to do with anything. But it's literally always completely different. And that misdirection keeps you entertained. It keeps you excited and shit like that. But fucking, I mean, dude, I do it a lot because that's what most comedians should be doing. If you're going to say some crazy shit, you're only doing that to distract them from the fucking other hand that you're going to throw them at. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You get it. And also you're supposed to do... And this is some free game for people out there. You're supposed to use certain words or that get them thinking a way because most people don't realize that they don't have their own thoughts. They don't have their own emotions. They're controlled by certain words, certain visages. You know, you'll see a certain thing. You're like, oh, well, this is this kind of place. What you do is you use that for your comedy. You get them thinking, and then they think that they already got there, and then boom, you hit them with something else, and
idea.
Exactly, and then now they have to think about that. And while they're now confused, then you're hitting them with the fucking comedy. But you gotta be so simple and direct that they can still hear it while their brains fucking fizzing out. Some of these people,
you're verbally doing Inception.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't if the audience ain't listening, here's the thing. People talk over their fucking laughs. The audience will be laughing and they'll be trying to say the next fucking thing, but they'll step on it. So the audience can't hear if they're laughing. They can only do one thing at a time. Yeah. So you fucking let them fizz out. And then here's the big trick is like when you're fucking. You know what I mean? The biggest, if you guys are out there, I rarely talk about fucking on this podcast, but this is the fucking, and comedy is really similar in this way where it's like, you don't want to fuck a chick that you think that like in 5 seconds you're gonna be like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to fuck you anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good fuck. You know what I mean? Like, but sometimes people will be like, oh my God, I'm with this hot chick. I mean, I gotta, at any second she could say, say this ain't a thing. That's comedians with the crowd. You gotta go up there and you gotta be like, bitch, you want to fuck me more than I want to fuck you. Maybe I'm gonna say that. You know what? You only get 2
Maybe I'm gonna turn you down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you have to approach the fucking comedy shit. You gotta let the audience know. First off, Daddy's here. Everything's good now. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm gonna tell you how it is, and then you're gonna listen to them, and all they're gonna be saying is laughter. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And you listen to them, and you go, hey, fuck you. I'm not gonna listen to that. You ignore the people that are trying to get you off your game too. Some people, they'll just listen to anybody that calls in. They'll be like, oh, this guy's saying some fucked up shit. Oh, I gotta talk to him now. Why? That's not. It has nothing to do with your bit. Keep talking about your shit. Train the audience to fucking know who you are and shit. So one of the best things. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm giving too much game out to you faggots. Sorry. I didn't even mean to say that. I suck dick, guys. I really do sometimes. All right. It's getting wild, man. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, man. Sorry, we were getting into some crazy shit, and I was just thinking. It
went where it was gonna go.
It went where it was gonna go.
The last thing we talked about, whether the cancel culture thing, I was gonna bring it up. We were talking about Killer Mike earlier.
Yeah.
I watched him do an interview or a speech, and he was talking about
in front of the church.
Speak. Nah, it was like at some. He was at like an actual formal thing he was speaking at.
He does a lot of those, man.
Yeah, he does.
He does a lot because he does a lot of activist stuff and a lot of. But he was saying that a lesson he learned early was just because somebody was saying that something that he didn't like didn't give him the right to shut them up. So he was saying he learned more by not doing that. He was like, one, I need to know who my enemies are. So like,
yes, I love my friends.
Was that the speech where he talks about his teacher?
Yes, that speech.
You're zero. Yeah. I love my friends more than my enemies. That's why I treat them so friendly. Because a enemy lets you know they hate you, but a friend hides his envy.
Yeah. So like, he was basically saying that was one of the reasons. But two, like, the answers are in this. Like, if I shut you up, my answer is clearly not right because if it was right, we would be somewhere else.
Preacher to the choir.
Even be here.
Yeah.
So
that was a good speech.
So like our answers are in this somewhere, but by me shutting you up, we'll never find them.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna just either I'm gonna keep just doing what I'm doing, and you're gonna just keep doing what you're doing, or we're gonna end up in a war. Like either way, like
that's
he made that good point where he's talking about if I shut him down, I don't know
where he stands.
Yeah, and he said talking about having a guy who's openly hostile.
But keep that in mind also. Keep in mind why Killer Mike is an elite MC, because that's how you should be looking at it, a comedy. It's not the audience shut him down. He's shutting them down. I'm shutting your thing down because I'm the one that's in control of this conversation and this line of dialogue. When you're on stage, you have to have that fucking you have to have that. You have to be the person that's giving them because that's why they want to listen. If you're just up there, even if it's at an open mic, one of the best things I ever heard was when Green Day played any show, it was like they were playing Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously you're going to go up there and you're going to work on some shit, but you got to let them know Daddy's home. Now listen. You know what I mean? And also give them something to fucking listen to. If you don't got nothing to fucking say, then don't go up there and fucking say. Yeah,
shut up.
That's another issue we got. A lot of people feel like they got a lot to say. And then when you let them talk, you realize they don't know what they're talking about.
No, man, dude, I was that dude. So one of the greatest things I ever heard is you get to be there. You don't have to be there because there's a million people, not a million, but there's a lot of people that want to fucking have that spot. Yeah, a million, easily, yeah. And the thing is that, and one of the other things I ever heard too is the best thing to do if you want to get into comedy, guys, go to the shows and just be there because a lot of times these motherfuckers won't show up. And they'll need a motherfucker to, to fill in for them. You know, so you guys can always do that. Just be at the shows, because a lot of times you'll be surprised. Somebody won't show up, and they'll need somebody to fill time, and they'll put you on there.
And
so
you gotta be ready.
And don't go up there like you're fucking whatever. It's like it's the
That
funny.
happened in basketball too.
Yeah.
It used to happen to me all the time. Like they used to have like a guy decide he wasn't gonna play that night. He's taking the day off, and you get to the arena, and they be like, "You starting?"
Oh shit.
And you've been in a suit for like a week and a half. You ain't even putting your actual jersey. That would happen to me all the time. And that was like the first big lesson I learned, like how to stay ready. Because like there would be days, and they didn't want to mess with the rotation. So if the guy that wasn't playing was a starter, they would plug me in his spot.
That's got to be kind of like a good compliment, though, right? Like the fact that they had that, like you're like the secret weapon kind of.
Eventually, I took it as that. When at first I was just like, they only playing me because you mad because you ain't been playing.
Oh, he's getting his day off. Well, I want a day off
too.
too.
And then I finally like started to sit around. It's like, well, one, they trust me enough to put me in that spot.
Yeah.
Two, everybody's seeing me in this spot. I might as well make the most out of it. Now, it would be messed up when I would have these good games and the guy would come back and they would just put me back, put me back where I was.
I messes up. Yeah,
And that was a big part of my. I had a lot of confidence issues in the beginning in Utah. So that was
sounds
the
like you're
biggest
getting
part.
bumped. That sounds like a bump because it's like that'll happen. It's like they don't want to go up, and then you warm the crowd up, and they're like, I'm gonna go up now.
It's kind of like, am I good enough or am I not? Like, you know what I mean? Like that was what that was for me. Like in the beginning of my career, and I think it took years for me to get that off.
Man, so I was looking at your Wikipedia, man. You played for a lot of fucking teams, man. That's so cool. Like, because then that's why I thought was so interesting is that I wouldn't even have thought of it as a thing. Even we could think of it as negative, because I thought like, man, all that experience and all those different territories and shit is like the fact that and the fact that you could get traded. That's the thing. It's like the fact that people are like, yeah, I want this guy, or for whatever reason and shit. So, but when you were talking about like that, it didn't even like, so when did you get to that philosophy, or not philosophy, maybe you was always there, but like where it didn't affect you, where you're like, I'm not even sweating about, because you're saying that people were sweating about draft day, that they made jokes about it and stuff. And then, I don't want to ruin it. Go listen to Yahoo Canada for CJ Miles' best draft day story, I think is kind of what it's titled. Because I don't want to ruin it. You go listen to that. It's good. His podcast is great. Go to Yahoo Canada. It's called Raptors Over Everything. And he gets really deep, and he starts talking about some really like introspective shit and all that, but it's all I'm sorry to fucking go on with that, but yeah, so I guess my thing was, did you always have that philosophy when you did it, or was it like, well, what team were you like, or what thing were you like, you know what, this is my job, getting traded is part of the job? And
I grew into that. I mean, I kind of got to a point where it was like, there's so much things I can't control, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know when the front office is talking to another team's front office. The GMs are talking. Like, why sit around and like speculate? And then like when the media thing became a big part of it, half the people that are on media don't know what they're talking about. So like, why am I listening to them, right? And I was just like, as long as your name getting said, you got a job.
Oh shit.
That's the way I looked at it. And you're gonna keep one as long as your name getting said. So I just focused on what I could focus on, was being ready to play when I could, like in the situations that I had, like I was talking about early in my career, going from being on the back of the bench to starting and things like that, and then just paying attention to the climate of the game around me and the players around me. But I always just looked at basketball. Basketball was one of those things where I felt like I could always figure it out. Like you could throw me a Rubik's Cube basketball terms and I would figure it out like quickly. It was just one of my mind just, it was my thing. Like,
I joke about that with Mike Tyson, where it's like, people think Mike Tyson's stupid, but he's actually a genius at boxing. Like if you just explain math like boxing to him, it'd be like, Mike, what's 3 times 3? It's like, I don't know. All right, Mike, what if 3 punch 3 in the chest like 3 times? You're like, is it 9? Yes, that is right, Mike. It's like, oh my God, I fucking get it now. This is amazing.
I believe that though. I think that's the way you get talked to. Like we was talking about earlier. Like I think, and that was one of my things. Like, and then basketball has allowed me to like I'm able to literally go to places and talk basketball and turn it into life conversations with people because of that. Now I went and studied a bunch of other things and read a bunch of other things to be able to do that, because I believe coaching is a love language. I think like that's not that's not a thing that you just do because you can play basketball. Like you could be the best basketball player in the world and be the worst coach ever.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
don't
think
know how to speak it
Or
to the
vice
other
versa.
people.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
And there's guys that didn't even play in the NBA that have been good coaches. Like they just went and studied the game and they understood what's got to be given, and they understand that you got to listen first.
Yeah. And so I love hearing about it. So, but I want to get back to the music thing right now. So I know that your most recent album, what's that one called?
Everything is thought and representation was put out like.
So I was going to get representation, but like I said, it canceled my card when I was doing it, so I got to get that again. But so what's the new project? What are you working on right now?
I have one that's already done. Actually, we just don't
shit.
know when we're putting it out. It's called Ghetto's Dream.
Ghetto's Dream.
So it's kind of like it goes into the aspect where I said that earlier. We were talking about like I literally rap and shoot threes. Like I did both of the things. Like you know what I mean? Like Ghetto's Dream. Like the things that kids in my neighborhood dream about doing. So I was like,
Oh shit, I like that.
so like if I was gonna be in that position, what are the things that I would say to myself?
Oh shit.
So like that's
the
kinda what
concept of the album.
The concept of the album is like, what are the type of things I would want to hear? Like I would tell myself things to give them more confidence and tell them about things that are going to come and just dealing with life, but like dealing with yourself. That it's more about you than it is about anything else. And I don't mean that in a selfish manner. I mean it's more about you making the decisions of what you want, and everything else is gonna bend to that. As long as you stick to that. If you stand on your shit, everything else will fold in time.
Yeah.
It's not meant to. Like it's not meant to stop you. If that's what you want, you just got to choose what you want.
Yeah, I definitely feel I'm kind of an asshole because I do believe in that. As long as you're consistent, you're gonna basically beat like 99% of pretty much everything. Because consistency is the most important thing.
Because people don't know what they want.
Yeah, so I get stoked when I see people's podcasts are quitting or whatever, or anything's going bad for it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I'll send pictures to everybody else. I'm like, look at them, they're going down bad. You gonna be here next Saturday? But so. You were 18 years old in the NBA. Do you see, do you think that, like you were saying, so when you said that maybe through college you could have like gotten a different class. I know that they maybe talk about that in the NBA of like, have they done anything like that recently where it's like they start teaching young players kind of like a fiduciary responsibility and shit like that?
Yeah. So they do two different. They do two different throughout the day, throughout the time in the league. They have people come and they sit down with us and they start teaching. So that's how I started. That's what sparked my interest to learn more about it. They come down, they talk, they tell you about different ways to save money, different ways to make money outside of that, different ways that they'll even like do audits of financial advisors to make sure the guy that you're with is actually doing his job.
Yo, that's dope.
They started doing a lot of things, and they started programs to help guys from going broke after they were finished. So like then we have like the best like 401k plans of like any type of business that you can have, like just because they make so much money, right? So
that's legit though. Do they pay for the audits and shit like that, or
I don't know. I never had to do one.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have to do one. We real good. I could call him right now and he pick up the phone. I don't have to deal with that. We talk and I can see everything. But I think the biggest thing is like they made that information more and more valuable. They made it valuable. They made guys understand, like, even if they had to trick them, say, you could get more money. If that's the way I got to get you to understand it, then that's the way I got to get you to understand it. Yeah. And then they show you ways that they can help you. So they do a lot of plans where, like, they start annuities for guys who are like, look, we can take a little bit out of your check now so you never even see it. So when you're done, it'll be somewhere where you can't even get to it until this time. And then you play a certain amount of years, like any job, you get a retirement plan also. So, like, obviously I played half my life. So, like, I don't have to worry about the retirement. I got the best benefits. You can insurance, all that, whatever. So that's the great thing about the league, though, that they do for guys. And they even went back and gave it to older guys that didn't have it from before.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Man, that's fucking sick. All right, so last question. I know you got to get out of here. Man, thank you so much for your time. And, Bub, man, thank you so much for bringing CJ through here. So last question I guess I want to ask. Oh, fuck. I had it in my head. But, fuck. All right. Shit. It was going to be about, goddamn. Either way. All right, y'all. Shit. No, it was going to be about, man, fuck it. It's all good.
I had one too, and it slipped my mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What was, because I let him go on that last question. I had one for you. I can't remember what the hell is that.
Both of y'all.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on, if you figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So I'll
wrap
kind
it
of
up
walk
like
it through.
that.
We're
We gotta
talking
figure it
about
out.
the financial shit with the pro league. I was thinking about the 18-year-old thing.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
You're asking if like going to college would do what it would have done. You were going to hit on that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know because you kind of ansed it by saying that the league is
think it's a
actually taking
maturity
care
thing.
about doing the
What I will
the
say
nudity shit.
is like though, the league is more prepared for guys like me now.
You know,
That's the
finish that
biggest
thought
thing.
because I know I'm gonna release my bladder real quick, and I know that the idea is gonna come to me while I'm over there. I'll be right
You
back.
got to get some of that out
Yeah,
of you.
and please, so Bob, plug your stuff, Mr. Mas Fresco. Please plug your Apple Music. I'm gonna come in because I know I got the idea, but I can't get anything with stuff in my bladder.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm trying to start a mic on Friday at the Vault for 8 p.m. shows. It'll be, like I said, open mic. So, yeah, come on out. And you got anything to plug, bro?
He's been plugging me, so
Yeah, he's
Mas
been
Fresco on everything: Apple Music, Twitter, Instagram. The podcast is on Raptors Over Everything and Yahoo Canada, but it's the actual. The best way to find it is type in Strictly Hoops with CJ Miles. It's like a sub under it's like so that way you won't have to like sift through everything. But Strictly Hoops.
I know I want to ask.
There we go.
About this till I was in there, but it's a good question.
All right.
So, when can we see you live, man? When we see Mas Fresco in San Antonio performing?
Oh man, that's a good dead.
Right?
The plan is to start figuring that out after we release this album that's done.
Oh, this
That
is
was
the
the
one.
next- that's
You
the
got
next
some singles.
evolution.
What's
Yeah.
the
I mean, we've been releasing all these singles so that way when we flow into that, we already have people's like rolling with us attention.
I think I know a spot where if you wanted to perform live, they'd let you
Yeah, so
downtown.
They
have to
don't let
figure
you
that out.
perform anywhere. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
pretty much.
But I definitely want to figure. That's the next thing that I want to challenge myself. But I want that feeling. I want to know what that feels like. And I've been on stage and rapped on stage before and stuff, but not like my show.
Yeah.
And where I put the work in, the creativity.
Where have you rapped on stage before? I mean,
I did it all the time in Utah. Like I used to like.
I remember you used to have rappers come stay with you and stuff.
Yeah, so like a bunch of my homies used to come stay, but like I used to always like in the clubs I knew all the DJs, so like
okay.
I would like shut down clubs, like so like the last like 15 minutes or so we'd be picking songs, playing beats, and I would be rapping and messing with the crowd and doing. I used to do that all the time.
Hey yo, do you freestyle?
Not as much as I used to.
Mind if I put on a beat or a freestyle with your boy?
You going to freestyle? I'll freestyle.
I'll
with you.
freestyle. All right, okay. When something stupid. Let me see what we got real quick. All right. So, Bub, talk to us, man. What's on your mind?
Keep it
What are you
flowing.
feeling like? I'm gonna put on Helicopters by Necro.
I'm not familiar with that
Not
one.
either.
I know. It'll be
I
good.
know that's the point, right?
It's really good though. Let's see if we got this right.
Jimmy Lou had,
This is
shouted
gonna
out-
suck, by the way. I'm not even feeling myself in front of Mr. CJ, but let's see what we got. We got Necro coming up, and
it's
we're
nice.
doing Black Helicopters. So apparently, this was the beat that was supposed to go to Eminem, but he didn't take it. All right, I don't know if you can hear that shit.
I can hear it.
Let me sip from my goblet, Let me chase that fucking ring like a hobbit. These motherfuckers think they got it, but they ain't got this. This fucking Alonzo is way too fucking toxic. Oh shit, man, my cock's sick. Yes, like some chlamydia shit. You motherfuckers don't even know this idiot, bitch. Yes, though. Check out Bad Impressions, the best show. Every Saturday we go live. These motherfuckers think they high. No, you ain't like me, cause I'm fucking hide. Shit, man. I fucking lied. I ain't be raping bitches. I ain't be making disses. Oh shit, but I be cleaning dishes at the library. No, wait a second, I mean the books. Bitch is so scary. What you wanna do? Yeah, my dick is so hairy, but it's all good. Now let's ride across the fucking ferry.
I don't even know how I'm supposed to.
I just feel it.
We're like polar opposites, by the way. It's the young black boy with the gold voice. Everything I rap is by choice. I'm not influenced by none of these whack rappers. I'm gifted, you should rap it. I'm
I'm in a Cadillac, bumping Outkast, seem to be the outcast. Maybe I'm the black sheep, maybe all of y'all is weak. Maybe my pen is elite, or maybe my words just way better. Maybe we can turn some flows into some cheddar, or maybe we can run the whole thing if they let us. F that, they ain't gotta let us, we built the table. They tried to bring us food, but I was cooking in the back. Every time I'm at the rim, I attack like Shaq. Or maybe I'm Penny, maybe it's magic. You come against me, things can get tragic. I carry a 9, maybe 4-5. I shouldn't be saying that, but to get live. I'm in the Lone Star, where everybody's got a gun. Bullets fly by for fun, ask my city, man. Ask my city, bro. Ask the girls I know, they call each other bro. I think that's kinda weird, but that's another thing. I'ma come back with my shell. Then I came with this sword, I cut his head in air. Please don't get too near. I'm lost.
I disappear. I come through every June like a queer. These motherfuckers, they say, hey, I am near. But no, motherfucker, you can't see me but the spear. Right through the eyelid like I did. These motherfuckers wildin' like I was profiling like racially. These motherfuckers chasing me. They making me do things that I don't want to do. Like make some cheese so I can pay my lawyer fees. These motherfuckers hating me, but it's all good. It's just my steez. With CJ Miles in the studio, that was bad first impressions. Got the illest freestyles ever. And go check out Everything Is Taught. What's the second album, my man? Representation. You can go check out Mas Fresco.
That's fun. I don't remember the last time I freestyled like that.
Yeah, that was stupid, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the last time. I gotta do that more.
Man,
my brother used to do it. I haven't did it in a while.
It's good, dude. I remember I used to just chill in the garage all the time. Little man, Mastermind. And,
that's how I make up songs a lot of time, but it's a different mindset. You know what I mean? Because you're like looking for something. Like
I was panicking. I was like, oh shit, hopefully don't say shit to me.
No.
Yeah, that's with the freestyle shit. I used to fucking try to be too deep, but then I was this one comedian, Kevin Brennan, and it was interesting because I watched him go for the lower hanging fruit, and it's like, you know what? When you're doing it's not bad to do that because then it'll kind of maybe charge up something else.
No, 100%.
You know, yeah, for sure.
It charges a lot of things up. Like I feel like in a writing process, a lot of times, like when I like do that, when I just let go and I just like I'm silly and I'm just free and I'm just like the girls are coming in the room and while I'm rapping, I'll freestyle to them and like talk about what they got on. I'm like, oh wait, give me a second, and
you gotta write it down.
Yeah, and then it comes up and I'm able to
That's how it is with jokes.
Yeah, like so like, but that's the thing. That tells you a lot about us too. Like we should be way more freer than we give ourselves chances to be.
Yeah, man. That's a good thought to leave this on there, man. Gotta be more free, man. We had CJ Miles in the studio. We had Mr. Bub Jenkins in the studio.
I'm gonna be a rapper now. My name's gonna be Mo Free.
Yeah, next time you gotta rap.
Mo Free.
I'm coming back just for Bub to rap.
Oh shit, man!
So you can write it even.
Shit,
I don't even care.
Man, I had an idea to we dope. We'd make a new intro. We about to rap part of it. That'd be pretty sick, man. I'd be down with that. Man, thanks a lot for coming through, dude.
Yeah,
I
man,
really appreciate it.
Man,
yeah.
for real.
And yo, guys, so check out Mr. Mas Fresco on the Apple Music. Go check out his podcast, Yahoo Canada, Raptors Over Everything. This man's doing shit. He's releasing a new single is it Wednesday, you said?
Other Wednesday. Yeah,
every other Wednesday.
Yeah. So there's one called Sticky coming out on Wednesday.
All right, one called Sticky. And I'll try to play it on the next show and try to get that over to me and let me get your contacts and shit like that and try to start get Mr. Mas Fresco on the show. You guys can listen to him. I'll be plugging that shit. I got a show coming up on the 12th at LOL. I'm doing Raul's Revolver Show. I'm doing Big Hops on the 16th with Bub Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to plug that one in earlier.
Yeah, it's all good.
Your own show, Bub. You have multiple opportunities to plug your own show.
Well, I've been thinking about this new one that
They're
I
trying
got
to get
last
off.
night. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it's going to be good, though. It's going to be a Big Hops. You got Tony Bain hosting that. He's always a...
No, I'm hosting. Tony's just on the ticket.
Get it right.
My bad. Let me get Tony over here co-hosting then. What the fuck?
Yeah. Usually that's the reason I got backwards because usually Tony's been hosting these, but now I'm hosting.
So Tony, man, come on the show soon. We gotta get you on the show. He's a real sweetheart and shit. He's always put me on a lot of stuff.
Crazy Legs, Tony Bain.
Yeah, Mr. Tony. Son of a bitch.
Tony has cerebral palsy.
Crazy.
Son of a bitch. All right, yeah. So yeah, go check us out. We're gonna doing some shows. Go check out Mr. Mas Fresco, Mr. CJ Miles. He's got a lot of things coming up. And thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thanks a lot for checking out Bad First Impressions. Any last words for us, sir?
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Please.
Ah.
He already said a good one where he's like, "Gotta be more free and shit."
Yeah.
You got
Maybe that'd be
else?
it. Be
Yeah.
more free.
Y'all talk a second. I'm gonna check my notes.
All
That's
right.
fine. That's
He's
good,
like, I
man.
think of dope shit all the time.
Yeah.
What
That's some good shit.
Dave Chappelle said about Kanye.
Yeah, I was just watching.
Oh
that
yeah.
yesterday.
Because I do, my life's dope.
My life's
I do
dope.
Shit.
I do dope shit. Fucking
Oh.
man, I feel bad because we were recording earlier and we didn't get CJ Miles' opinion on the Winding W Melly thing. So if
I
you guys weren't,
didn't have much.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
anyway,
There was no
so, like,
opinion.
Do you think?
Just
do you
like-
think Kanye's gonna come back? He gonna make
come
a
back
comeback
from what?
from
There's
being
no
canceled?
coming back.
yeah, he never left.
Nah, yeah. Kanye's one of those people say whatever they want, but like Kanye's one of them. He's got like magic in his production. Like when he does something, and
I'd be like, man, this guy's
he's also
horrible,
got a
but
fan base that's like,
that doesn't care.
yeah, they don't-
He's like an element. You know what I mean? It's like it's just one of those things that's
yeah,
gonna
he's one of those
happen.
things, like,
Yeah.
just-
And also, it was funny. My chick was all like, "I mean, Kanye say he loved Hitler." I'm like, "Baby, everybody loves Hitler. Come on, calm down." It's like it's not
said he
even
loves
true.
Hitler?
Everybody loves Hitler. Because I'm just saying, when Kanye West says it, it's like, I know what he's saying.
So,
Come
like,
on,
yeah, but,
everybody
like,
loves Hitler.
It's
Come
crazy
on.
because people keep trying to make it. It's just a bad. It's a bad.
He worded it wrong.
No,
It's a bad person to use, but like when you look at it, like
The message he was trying to
the
say.
message is like you believe in shit enough, people to start believing it too. Basically, like because all Hitler did was not fold.
Well,
Like, I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying he didn't fold, and look what happened.
well,
Like that's all I'm saying. So imagine
keep bucking
if you
the
were-
system.
Imagine if you were a good person and you didn't fold. What could you do?
Yeah,
that's a good point. I like
that
that.
should be the next
That's
Nike
my
one.
profound.
Yeah, that's a
The
profound
next,
statement,
the next
yeah.
Nike one. Be like Hitler.
Oh, there's
Don't give up. Like no, please don't do that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
uh,
But that's the premise, though. Like right, like
Fucking, I mean, I'm saying, I don't know. Here's my thing. It's almost like what I said with the whole thing before, where when you're a comedian, you know what I mean. You're gonna say some shit to rip the tits off the audience, you know what I mean. But then when Kanye, I feel like his response should have been music, but you know I don't think he's got that yet. I think he's still working on the. Okay, you guys are listening now, so here's my conversation on it. Here's my whatever. I don't think he's had that yet.
he just went so radical so fast. That
I
was
don't
what-
think he gets a lot of pushback when he talks.
I'm going to say this, and this is one thing. When it comes to the JQ, and I'm just going to leave it at that, when people start getting, it always comes on quick. And then you kind of realize, well, this is just how it's literally been for fucking 40,000
and that's
years.
the thing.
You
Like
know?
he's not lying.
No,
Like,
you're not
he's
saying nothing wrong.
He's not. He's just. He's just
factually
not,
correct.
He's just not serving it on a pretty plate.
Yeah.
Like and when you've been in the entertainment business so long, people know that a lot of this shit is entertainment. So they wonder if he even really cares. Like,
Yeah, he just
you know
wants
what I
to.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't want to take it from you because I don't know if you're gonna go back to go and do whatever
and
next.
that, dude, honestly, this is when Kanye first came out and he was doing that shit. I'm like, are we doing this? Are we actually having the conversation?
With the gospel music, when people didn't want to mess with it, the music was good, but it's like I don't know if you're gonna go back to doing whatever next week.
Yeah, and so I can't it's like
Yeah.
you almost feel like, dude, that reminds.
And that's the
It's
danger
funny
of
we're talking about
religion.
Hitler,
Like,
because so here's I had this one bit about Hitler, right? And it was an early bit that I did, but it was basically I feel bad for early fans of Hitler because it's like when Hitler first came out, you know, everybody loved Hitler because he was like whatever, and then so it's almost like, hey man, you still into Hitler? It's like I like his underground shit, you know what I mean? Like before he went to the whole mainstream Jew stuff, yeah, you know, I like old Hitler, yeah, I like old Hitler, you know, and so.
hand signal.
Fucking yeah, so that is that's always like I kind of feel that with Kanye too. Where it's like I like old Kanye, but fucking yeah, man. As I'm saying, it's so so who was the motherfucker? I saw a biographic by this dude about Emperor Nero, who literally burned Christians alive to keep his garden parties lit. You know what I mean? He used burning Christians as his garden party thing, and the ending of that was like. And even though people are talking about Nero, they need to think about the context of Nero. I'm like, nobody ever says that about Hitler. Nobody ever says about the context of Hitler and shit like that.
You don't mess with people. Like
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, and they, that's what I'm saying.
But every religion or whatever you want to go through has got a time period where they're doing this, which is what makes it even crazy. Like it could all be speculation because, like, all right, you're the best people and best representations of God, but you don't believe me, so I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, but see, that it's like even their own, well, not their own stuff, but it's like if you look into Christianity and shit, it's like, well, they broke the covenant with God, so it's like the only people these days that even are holding Jews up to the highest esteem are Christians because of Judaism. It's this wild, like I'm saying. Like when I was talking about people not understanding about Christianity, most people that are even devout Christians have no idea about Judaism. They don't even know about the whole, or the fact that, the fact that Jesus Christ's sacrifice is very close to the Passover ceremony. You know what I mean? Where they take one animal. Either way, you guys can look into that yourself.
Yeah. But so the last thing I'll say about it is, at one point, do we look at the people that wrote the Bible, like before, like we can say it was touched, and they say they had the meeting of what's the meeting they had when they decided what was going in and what was not. Whoever wrote the story,
King James Bible, when the Roman Emperor put everybody together.
I forget
and
the
shit.
name of the meeting, but like, at what point do we look at those people as people that were people a long time ago? And there are so many things that we know now that they couldn't explain that they blamed on God that wasn't God. So like certain things that they said, like, was God protecting them, could have just been a storm.
Yeah.
Or could have just been, or their exaggerations, their stories told. And we look at it and they would say, well, there's real places in the Bible. I'm like, we make movies about Chicago all the time. It doesn't mean that's what happened in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's just not me saying there's no truth in the Bible. But I think there's truth in it, and I think there's exaggeration in it. And I think there's a lot of imagery and a lot of things that we haven't been able to break down.
Well, here's one thing about the Bible is that the fact that it was written so long ago, but it literally still speaks to the exact same feelings
so you know
humans
that
deal with.
so
There's
you know
something there.
Exactly. There's wisdom in it. But you also, like, you hear a Jewish person break down the Bible, and you hear, like, the way you break down the Bible, and it's not the same, bro.
Yeah.
The meaning is not the same. Because the words, but that's the other thing, too. Language is everything, right? There's no word, and there's no picture up top in the head. There's nothing associated with it. You can't go.
Well, like, Jews don't necessarily believe that God's, like, as I'm saying, they have a completely different understanding of that whole thing. But, so when it comes to the whole, when it comes to the whole Bible, what they say is it was written by God but edited by man, right? And, how if I can...
How? So my thing is, like, they keep saying it's a thing that we've never seen, can't talk to, can't hear, can't, like, what? So, like, how do we know that, like, none of us were there? We just people keep saying that this is how it was written. And this is not me trying to tear down the church. I'm just saying, like, no, we just taking your word for it.
Yeah.
And everything else we've taken your word for has not been true.
Well, you ever heard the whole Nietzsche principle? Here's my thing, too. It's like, there is a possibility that God could have existed back in that day and maybe died over the past 2,000 years.
Or that the way that the God that they're talking about is not the God that we think that they're talking about.
Well, so if you go into Canaanite religion and stuff, the God that we have right now wasn't the God necessarily before him. That there's other. So even though there's a monotheistic, like, no other gods before me, but why would you even have to say that unless there was other gods before you?
Or to say the Most High, like there's something like
there must be something else.
And then you also got to look at, when you look at every religion, it's so specific to the people in that area of that time and like what they're going through. So like
fucking great point.
Like people these are slaves, so of course, like whoever the people that enslaved them, their God, they're not gonna believe in their God.
Well,
they want to separate.
The question
themselves.
you were asking about why he would have to say that is because he was giving it to Moses, who those people were caught up in starting to turn toward the Egyptian gods. So that's why he's just straight up like, yo, there aren't any other gods. It's just me. And then also the 12 plagues were all kind of attacks on separate Egyptian gods where they were supposed to.
But that kind of goes back to where he's talking about, where it's like there are like natural disasters that happen and stuff. But if you're only born, it's like the crows and the fucking the scarecrows.
Right.
You know what you know.
So now,
what else would you call a tornado except for God?
Yeah, at that time.
At that time, there would be nothing to call it.
I'm not saying that there never was an active God at any time. I'm just saying how much was and wasn't.
Yeah.
Like,
How
what
much
do we
were they
not
just
know?
like, oh, we
Yeah.
must upset God?
Yeah, we don't exactly.
Yeah, we must have pissed the
Like-
fuck off of God because we all
like
just
a
died
tornado
with this.
came and then they turned it into guilt, and it was more so just the weather was bad that day.
Yeah.
Like everything is not tied to him or the devil.
I think he
That's what
did
I'm
more
saying.
famines in the Bible, though.
Same.
That was that.
But I
and
mean,
floods.
wouldn't that be the most main thing? Is food back in the day, where it's just like that? That would obviously be everything that's attached to life would be attached to God at that point because He's just the word for life and stuff. So any bad thing that happened, and that's the interesting thing too, is that's what I'm saying. That's why it's interesting with the Zoroastrian thing because when you look at early Bible, almost Satan and God's actions are almost tied together. It's like God's just as fucking wrathful as Satan and stuff like that. It's almost like Satan.
So like, there's other metaphors of it too that try to teach you too that like everything is like within the self, right? Which is what it says, kingdom of heaven is within yourself. It's trying to tell you that God and the devil is you, parts of it. Like,
Yeah.
So
well, you
your
can't
devil,
because the devil
your
is
devil-
God because he was created by God.
Your
Yeah.
devil is just you and the things that you don't need. And your God is like your version or your thought and what you see as the highest version of yourself.
You are the devil because you're constantly going what the devil's going through. First off, you're cast out of heaven. You're constantly battling with, are you God? Do I worship God? Things like that. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, there's a lot of like different metaphors you can go at this way, and they all make sense. And like it all comes down to like the stuff that we don't know. It's just you have to go in it and decipher it, and you have to. And the beauty of that book is that you can take it at any point in life, and it can find, like you said, it still can speak to something. So that's how you know there's something special about it, and it's written from a place, but it's just like, what is the place?
And here's also the thing, though.
Where is the place?
You also wonder, because you like to talk about systems and systems governments, like how much of that was based on the Bible so that we're constantly reinforced by the ideas of the Bible. It's like we live in this supposedly Judeo-Christian society and stuff. So it's like we're almost being reinforced by these ideas that were created. So it's almost hard to decide, like, here's my thing. I think that's what I like about the whole born again idea is that there's a time where you learn about God, but then there's a time where you accept God.
And you learn about God. Again.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. And it's a whole different fucking thing. I think Dogma puts it best where it's like when you're a kid, your cup for spirituality is very small. But as you get older, your cup gets bigger and the same amount of spirituality you get from church isn't cutting it anymore. And you feel like you lose your relationship with God. So you have to like go out there and explore other things. And
I don't think you were ever meant to stay in a church. Like I think a church is for.
I think churches are kind of.
Church is for like community in the beginning to teach you, and then you're supposed to go out so you can put those things to the test and learn your story and your version. So when you come back, you can teach the new youth. Like I think we get caught up in, like I heard a guy say this, or a preacher say this one time. He said the biggest enemy of God is the old ways of God, meaning the guy who's the leader for that time does not want to step down and does not want to let things grow. And I think we've got this thing where we think that these things can't grow, when this God thing is literally the mind. Like, not saying that there's no God, but I'm saying like the idea of God as we grow changes, just like it does in the Bible and every other religion when you read the books. The ideas of, that's why Jesus is the most, because he was the first one that stood on that shit. Like, that's my father. I am the son of God. Like, that's why his experience of it was different than any other body else's experiences that had been given and taught throughout the Bible. Like, that's why his is so like
radical.
Have you ever looked at the Book of Thomas?
Yeah.
Dude, so that's a fascinating thing because it gets into the childhood of Jesus Christ and it explores, a child with the powers of Jesus and all that. And I think it really gets into that. So it's like, do you believe in the idea of the Christ consciousness?
I do.
Yeah,
I believe. And the only reason I
Can
say
you guys not define that real quick?
I'd love to hear
so
your
like
definition.
I look at it like let me make sure I can get my words together. As far as like when the Bible says that Jesus is coming back and we're all gonna be of like mind. And we all got this idea that like mind is that everybody is bowed down and this is one thing. And I think it's everybody's at their purest place. Doesn't mean we're the same. We're just doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like, you're representing your highest self in that space. And it's like, I think of that also, that there's a space, because when we talk about like music, me and the guy I work with, CJ the Great, the producer, we talk about it all the time. And Nipsey Hussle spoke on this one time before too. For me to make a song, for the words, or for him to make the music, I heard that. It doesn't just fall into my lap. I hear it and then I produce it. Where is that coming from? Where do I hear that? Like where
that's a very musician thing. It's almost like only musicians and people that can pull. So one of the earliest things I heard that kind of made me stop doing rap was when I was freestyling. They say you're pulling from a dark well. Somebody said that shit, and I was like, it really fucked with me because I realized I was pulling from a dark well. I wasn't pulling from a positive well, and I was saying shit that wasn't coming from me. Even though the words were coming from me, they weren't coming from me because they weren't. Like it sounded great.
It was an idea behind it. Like it
I guess,
wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of different things. It could be like I said, it's like you're saying, you're pulling from something else. So was I pulling from a demonic place as opposed to maybe a more? That's what I'm saying. It's like, or what is demonic?
But that was that person's idea also, which is another thing when we go back to like when we talk about like the books of Bibles and all these books people read. All these things start with like.
Have you ever felt like you're drawn from a dark power though? Like, have you ever felt that? Like, have you ever felt like you're doing something and you're like, man, this is coming out too easy. It's like it's almost not me, and maybe you like look back on it.
But I don't look at it as like dark though. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's dark. I think it's only dark in my mind's in a dark place. I think that what comes out of here is only what I give it. Like, I think that's the only thing come out. Like, if I don't give it anything dark, then nothing dark is going to come out. So, like, I just try to pay attention to what I put in. It's just like, if you want a six-pack, you pay attention to what you eat.
He's not pulling from demons.
Yeah, so, like...
No, straight up. It feels like he hasn't been... Like, I feel like maybe
so, like,
I was pulling demons for a long time, yeah.
So, like, that voice, when I feel like I'm in that type of space, I can trust it. And I can let it happen. I can be spoke through. I can be a conduit because everything that I've studied, read, researched, tried to do has been for the... I felt, doesn't mean I'm right, but I felt was for the greater...
No, I feel like you're an instrument, man. Like, straight up, like, the way that you treat your body is like they call it a temple of God. But I mean, I think you really took that to heart, you know?
Yeah, but that's the way I look at everything. I think that so like a thing about me is like the thing that I want to be is a grand communicator. Like I want to be able to communicate in every which way I want to. That's why I like doing the podcast, and then like I like rapping, and then I like coaching. Like these are all different languages, but I also want to be able to put out the same message in every one of those languages. I want to be able to speak in every type of room. That's the thing that I want to be. And I also want that because I want to learn in every type of room.
You ever looked at, this is kind of a silly question, politics at all?
Nah.
Anything, what's your...
Close the rooms. like you get in a room and it's like, well, we only do this room. And that's why I would not like to do that.
Have you ever come to you asking
more
that question?
free doing politics.
Yeah.
Have you ever come to you asking that question? Because it seems like you had that answer. No, you just already felt
I just
yourself.
know I don't like it.
You got that's wild because you got the I always felt like there was people when I grew up with that knew that they were going to try to be politicians, even if necessarily not politician as a job, but politicians in their life. You know what I mean? Where it's like they had a higher understanding of their reputation. They had a high understanding of those things. It seems like you had that at a younger age.
I do know I'm supposed to teach. I know that now.
And with that, do you feel like as a teacher, like is that how you see yourself? Like I'm saying, like and that
but
affects
I know
how
the
you.
only way I can teach is to like go figure out what I'm supposed to teach. You know what I mean? Like I gotta go live, I gotta go study, I gotta live some life, I gotta fail, I gotta fall, I gotta get to the top, so like only reason I'm able to teach basketball is because I play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason
Nobody
why
would
I'm
listen
able
to you.
teach.
That's what I'm saying. It's like nobody listens to you unless you. Yeah.
And that's not saying that people that have to play in the NBA to teach, but the reason I'm able to teach the way I teach and able to get what I get out of people is because you can type my name in on YouTube.
That's supreme confidence. It's supreme confidence in your position.
You can hear that when I deliver you something.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the truth. I don't have to sugarcoat nothing. I don't have because what are you gonna say to me? Well, how do you know?
Yeah.
You know I know.
Yeah.
I got life-size posters of myself.
I mean, yeah. But you know I know, so now I can deliver truth every type of way. Like I don't have to like, it's okay, next week we'll try to do it. I don't have to do that. Like, no, you want what I had, I know how to give it to you.
So last question. Are you thinking, so I know you're already doing the podcast thing, you know? So quick question. Is that a reporter that you're doing it with?
Yeah, he works for
sports reporter. Yeah.
So
I kind of had that vibe, so I was kind of curious.
Because so randomly, he hit me one day on Twitter. I rarely say anything on Twitter, one of the players on the team was in the gym and I commented on a tweet. I didn't know it was his tweet. I get a DM. He was like, hey, would you come on the show and talk about the video? And I was like, yeah. We ended up talking for like 45 minutes. Like a few days later, they called me, him and Yayu Canada. We're on FaceTime. It's like, you want a podcast? It happened that fast, like just off the conversation.
Yeah. No, I mean, straight up, dude, you're you draw from a lot of things, and it's easy to have a conversation with you. It's the harder thing is to try to figure out what your first thing was, because you're like, damn, I wanted to say something, but then you just popped off like 3 other things that you're like, damn.
And that's the thing. I don't think it has to be that way. I think we should just converse, and I think we should just figure it out. I think that's the best way to figure out people. Like if you give me a chance to plan completely, like I can show you, I can give you anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I can come in here and pretend I'm Obama.
Yeah.
But like if we converse and things get honest and things start coming out, then it's different. Because now you start to find out who, and then when people shut up or when they can't say nothing, they learning, they listening. Yeah. And then they figuring it out, okay, I didn't think about that way. Like now you got something to say and I'm shutting up and I'm listening. I'm like, oh man. Like the whole scarecrow conversation, like we don't have that conversation in my regular things because it's about basketball.
Well, let me on some real shit. Like, it was wild, man. Because when I first met Bub, right, he was in a different place with comedy and shit. You know what I mean? He was going through his whole thing and all that. But that scarecrow thing really stuck to me almost in a way with Bub, because it was like when I first came into comedy, I felt like if you weren't as funny as me, you had nothing to tell me, and I didn't want to listen to nobody. And actually, I would shit on those people. You know what I mean? Like somehow it made me feel better. The scaring made me feel better. You know, whatever. And then it was like, but Bub, like fucking early on, was like, "Yo, you're funny. I want to put you on these shows." He was like, he was putting me onto shit, and I'm like, man, why aren't you putting yourself onto shit? Like, why aren't you putting yourself onto shit? You're putting me onto shit. That just showed me the heart of the motherfucker. You know what I mean? And then I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Then you start. Then I was telling him like, man, you guys gotta fucking believe in your shit, and because you got shit to say, but you ain't believing in it, and they can tell you ain't. And then you fucking changed, and I saw this fucking shit, and then you fucking grew into my fucking co-host, and it's like people are telling me, dude, Bub's a great fucking addition. This dude's like, you know, he felt like, so it was so wild to be like, man, if it was me 10 years ago or 6 years, I would have been like, fuck Bub for no reason. You know what I mean? For no fucking reason. But then I'm like, I'm saying to my own detriment, because this motherfucker's a genius. This motherfucker's he's fucking funny. And then I had him on my podcast, and he's like, hey, do you want this NBA player to come on your fucking podcast and shit like that? And I'm like, yeah, Bub, I would love for a nice NBA player to come on my fucking podcast.
Completely together. Bub is my brother-in-law.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I didn't mention that.
People are like,
no, dude,
like
people
he just randomly found him in San Antonio. Like, no, me and Bub actually know each other. Like, we're actually family. We actually know each other. He didn't like send me some creepy DM.
No, it's like it's funny because people were
not like regular people do.
They thought because they were like. They're like, oh, Bub and this dude are brothers. Why doesn't Bub look like him? I know they're brothers-in-law. Brothers-in-law, and yeah.
Well, even it doesn't get any better with my regular brothers either.
Yeah, it don't.
Oh, dude, it was what was so dope is I'm glad we didn't. Yeah, it's like we can't catch, but just you know what I'm saying, dude. Like, I get personally pissed off when but it hasn't happened recently. But when people would like try to be like, oh, I'm gonna talk shit about Bub in the audience. I'm like, man, fucking work on your own shit. Stop fucking with Bub. He's doing his own shit. I don't like, because what I like about Bub is that he takes chances on stage, and there's very few comedians that I see these days that fucking take chances on stage and shit. So, and then when I saw him taking the chances and fucking figuring it out, you know what I mean? Like figuring out that shit, I legit felt like a dad seeing his son, you know what I mean? Like figuring this shit out. And here's my thing too, because I love Bub, and I was like, now we can fucking tour finally, because I trust that if I put you up, you're gonna fucking do great because you're fucking funny, dude, and you're killing it and shit. So I don't know why I had to say that, but dude,
I appreciate it.
No, but dude, thank you so much for being you. CJ, man, thank you so much for coming through and shit. And like I'm saying, it's like fucking, I don't know, man. I feel like I learned a lot just from
my wife, aka your sister. She's where I was at, so I was just texting.
No, I was telling Bub earlier because I got my ex and shit, and we're still like on a good place. But fucking, she broke up with me, So now I'm just like trying to remind her, like, that's why you fell in love with me. Yeah, I mean, and so
That seems like a good place to wrap up.
yeah, right. Well, fuck it. Yeah, but Bubby be like, "Are you back with her?" I'm like, "No, I'm just calling her babe because I love her still." Yeah, it's not bad together.
Endearment.
Yeah, I'm still the ace man. But shit, yeah, man. This is a really good podcast. Go check out Everything Is Taught, Mas Fresco. And go check out his Yahoo Canada Sports podcast. Yahoo Canada, it's Raptors over everything. If you're into basketball, I learned a lot just from talking to this man. Just like hearing from his shit. The dude's really fucking well spoken, well thought out, and just listen to his shit. Listen to his fucking music. It's fucking solid too. It's very dude. It's wild that you're doing conscious hip hop because it's what people let hip hop be because of what conscious hip hop used to be, and you're actually like bringing it back, kind of, you know. So I mean,
try to make it like conversational.
Yeah.
Like I was like, how do we have these conversations, but like how we talk to each other? Not like when you think of conscious hip hop, you think of these woke dudes in African chains, and like it's like no, like we actually have these conversations with me and my homies. So like let's put it in our language. And like the biggest thing that I take pride in is like I try to be like a lot of guys that do my type of music tear down the other stuff. Yeah. I like some of that music. It's good. There's good songs. There's good melodies. There's talented people. I just try to be a break. Like at some point, you got to take a breath. And like there's a time at 7:30 in the morning when I'm going to work out, I'm not playing that. Like or like 10 o'clock at night when I'm on the way home, I'm not playing that. Or like when I'm in the house and like we're making dinner, I'm not playing that.
It's kind of more calm your spirit type stuff.
For the actual other times of life when people are like, you should make a club song. I'm like, you go to the club twice a week for 3 hours. That's 6 hours. You want me to soundtrack 6 hours
of your life for my entire life
when there's already the whole entire genre doing that? Why
fight for it?
I don't do what's being done. Why would I make what's being made?
It's already been done.
There's no
Yeah.
point for it.
Yeah.
I can't make it better because I don't go to the club. So like,
I mean, like
it's just not your path.
Exactly, and it's fine.
But you understand that there's a place for it, and that like, and honestly, as I'm saying is like,
I'm gonna play some when I get in the car in the middle of the day. We drive home. I'm gonna play some. Like,
but a lot of people are just like, oh, you gotta choose one or the other.
Yeah, like that's people. Like everybody's got a ratchet side and an angel side. Everybody's got it.
Would you ever change? Last question. Would you ever? Are you like? Do you think that you're able to rap on the level that you're able to rap because of where you came from your basketball background? And I don't mean that by like whatever. I mean that by like straight up like your own self-confidence. You know what I mean?
I think I have certain traits that allow me to get better at it because of the traits I have from basketball, from my athletic. Like I have a mindset. Like the way I work at things, I only work at things to be.
So you feel like your second album, so your first album was $6.99, and the other one was $9.99. I was like, man, this one must be better. It's like $2 more than the first one.
I didn't even know the price of them. I didn't.
So I was like, man, that must be the better one. So do you like? So what I'm saying is like, I want people to go listen to Everything Is Taught, and the second one is
representation.
Representation. Yeah. And so I haven't listened to Representation yet. Do you feel like you matured more on that album? And that's
and like the reason behind that. So Representation was actually supposed to come out before Everything Is Taught. The pandemic and everything happened, and I made all these songs during that time period. So I felt like it made sense to put those songs out at that time.
While it was still relevant.
Yeah, because you can understand why. Like people listen to that, and I'd be like,
it's
was
super self-introspective. Like just from the first fucking yeah.
So I was like, I know that's quarantine. Like you know what I'm talking about. Like, and then Representation was just what we was talking about. Like it was a representation of somebody like me. Like I just made songs I felt like represented me, a basketball, rapping, reading, dad.
I mean, that is like some Alexander the Great shit, though, where it's like nobody else is as dope as me. So I had to create a soundtrack for
my life's dope and I do dope shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like straight up though, where it's just like, you know, man, there ain't nobody else that's a fucking ex-professional.
Nobody can speak
NBA
to me
player,
like me.
new rapper, doing podcasts, like
And shout out to all the other guys that play basketball that rap, but I feel like even them, they don't do it the way I do it.
No, you don't, man. Like seriously,
and there's nothing wrong with the way it's not the same.
I mean, if you listen to your rap shit, I mean, like I mean, I've heard a couple bars maybe here or there. I mean, maybe about playing basketball, but I mean, everybody plays basketball these days. You know what I mean? So it's actually even more relatable on that level where it's just like everybody raps and everybody plays basketball, but you actually like. And I'm saying, man, you're
I just happen to be good at both.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. Honestly,
He's
your
so
bars,
humble.
your bars are fucking.
I mean,
are
I'm just
solid,
saying,
man.
like that's just the thing. Like, and people might think I'm not good at either one of them. Like I've been told. Like so like that's subjective too.
Yeah.
But I just look at it like I try to do as much of the things I love. I try to do as much of the things I love as I can. So like these two things, basketball and doing that, they make me a better person. So I do them as much as I can. That's how I got good at them.
Yeah, man.
I wanted to be better, so I kept doing them.
Mo better,
Which is actually a song that I made.
All right, so I'm gonna play out "Everything Is Taught," and man, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much, CJ Miles, for coming through, my man. Mas Fresco, check out "Everything Is
My whole
Taught."
name, you can say CJ.
CJ, all right, man. CJ in the studio. We're gonna play "Everything Is Taught."
No matter what they do, mama, I promise I stay true, mama. And no matter what they say, mama, I promise my soul say, mama. Cause if I lose it, what I got to gain? Ain't a thing they can throw my way. I know angels ain't born with wings. Only God can judge me, who are they? Who are they?
Praying for patience, patience, to live my way, my way.
Who are you? Tell my truth. Love. They say life a ride, make sure my shit is a Chevy. Set of speakers that'll blow the block up like the levees. Leather soft as feathers, slight tint for the hecklers. Too bad they can't see the way these mics showing my denim affection. Too bad they can't see the woman that's riding shoddy. Mine is godly, just happens to have a hell of a body. I'm gripping the grain, we dodging the lanes. 90 and sunny, but the paint look like it rain. Driving like the trunk full of dope. Cause I ain't trying to catch a flat rolling through my home. It's some cats around the way that's sick of being low. Everything will come up, even one of they bros. I'm a native son of the grab and run. Arrested young, but never sung. Came home to 10 racks and a gun. What do we become? Ain't no wisdom in the hood, just a bunch of us scared to go to church, cause the church only like the church. I'm still confused on how that works. Another news clip devouring our worth. We need men to be better men, ain't no color on sin. Cries of a black father about to have his second daughter. I gotta put hate in the hearse, so it's love in every quote, peace in every verse. Yeah. I gotta put hate in the hearse, so it's love in every. No matter what they do, mama, I promise I'll stay true, mama. And no matter what they say, mama, I promise my soul say, mama. Cause if I lose it, what I got to gain? Ain't a thing they can throw my way. I know angels ain't born with wings. Only God can judge me, who are they? Who are they?
Praying for patience, patience, to live my way, my way.
Who are you? Tell my truth. Somebody tell me what they want from me. Like tell me what they done for me. I never stopped nobody clock. I never touched nobody guap. It's been a grind for all that I got. Ain't nobody hand me nothing. Feel like Tony Stark. I need iron for the man and my brother. I feel smothered. I can't breathe. So I make sure my breath is wise. Like you should take the time just to be alive. Maybe then you hear your soul when it cries. Pursue the echoes. Don't let persona place you in a chokehold. Time ain't money. Money ain't time. I know plenty rich niggas dying inside. All the ways they get it, water in they fire. Anything for high. I got a vision about dividing from division. Like the devil stopped tripping. We gave the fake riddance. We gon' show love, but if you roll love, know it's more than faith with us. And that's true. What if I never seen a queen recognize her queen? The strength it takes to let a man lead. The smiles that the flowers bring. Insecurities playing securities for the traits that you see dear in me. What if it's really just fearing me? I seen the things that love make them do. We have a baby young, then you leave, it's just true. Now I raise her with some spite, cause she stole my youth. My mother's mother was no bride. So it's no wedding pictures in the house. I never seen no love, but I fantasize. And now the expectation is if it ain't perfect, it ain't right. I'm sick of seeing new IGs. First pics caption, this is the new me. This world gave me so much doubt. What if I love you, I just don't know how. Don't know how. Don't know how. So when you hold me, say you hold me down. What if I love you, I just don't know how. Tell them you hold me and you hold me down. What if I never seen a king recognize his queen? Never seen the work it takes to lead. Pray, provide, protect, but never seen. So now I got nowhere to really lean. All the homies just wanna know if I smash. OG saying just stack your cash. Been a man who let temptation break their wedding bands. Man, we live where the devil dance. Death and birth, them the only truths. Babies coming way too early or leaving too soon. I'd be lying if I said I couldn't use a co-pilot to catch my back, but I got no map. Matrimony, what is that? If I sat right in front of my pops, I wouldn't dap. And with my left, see this world gave me so much doubt. What if I love you, I just don't know how. Yeah. I wish you peace, I wish you love. I wish you blessings from above. I wish you struggle, wish you strife. I wish you triumph, wish you might. I wish you guided ways. I wish you all your days. I wish you life. Something like that. I wish nothing more than to see you score. Seen dance, become a lawyer. Fall in love, build a home and then protect it. Raise a seed with no neglection. Find your purpose, place your steps in. It might not be for me or them or him, and that's okay. Cause if you redirect at every test, you'll never find your way. I know it's hard to feel special when they yelling you ain't welcome. But idle souls turn to venom. Attacks the mind controls the spectrum. Trap so many of my fellow brethren. I can hoop, but some were better. Ain't nothing stable under heaven. Life comes, people leave. More are taken, the hood feels forsaken, so it's no havens. Villainized our culture, took the knowledge out our language. Erased all our history, so many live in anguish. How could they ever question anger? The American dream is just to stay asleep. While people starve, while people bleed. My people bled, so many dead. It's either knee to the neck or nigga run that. And that ain't life, that ain't right. But you gotta fight. You gotta fight. Yeah. I wish you peace, I wish you love. I wish you blessings from above. I wish you struggle, wish you strife. I wish you triumph, wish you might. I wish you guided ways. I wish you all your days. I wish you life. I wish you life. Yeah. Hold on. We gotta make sure the sage lit, man. It's a spiritual thing, you know. Protect your energy at all costs.
If this guy's really the limit, why you not out there trying to reach it? Listen for the signs, key to life. Elevate your mind.
Check.
Oh, no. Yeah, got you out there dreaming.
Well, that's some good shit. So that was Moss Fresco. Bub Jenkins was in studio. And this is the end of the show. Thanks a lot, you guys, for listening. Go check out Everything Is Taught by Moss Fresco. It's a really good album, man. Really solid shit. Dude came in and gave a great interview for us. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Let's give it up for Mr. Bub Jenkins, who is in the studio. He's out doing his own thing right now. I'm just going to finish it up with you guys. And basically all I got to say is that that's a real funky dealer.
I ain't a winner. Pay the front line, take the don'ts. He's Coming out again for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. 4 fours to point, mark 4. Ace, deuce, scrap, wants 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 4. Ace, deuce, ace, deuce, scrap, want 4. Scrap, want 4. Who wants the hard 4? 5 wants 4.
Check me out, y'all.
9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. 4 and he made it the hard way. Hey, the front line, take the hard. You have a shooter and a good one. Coming out for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. He's a rolling point is 9. Place 9. Place 9. 8 shooting for 9. 5 shooting for 9. He's a rolling point is 9. Place 9. 8 shooting for 9. 5 shooting for 9. Who wants to come? 6 to point.
Check me out, y'all.
9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets. Place your bets. Who wants to come? 6 to point. Who wants to come? 6 to point. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen.
So funky. So funky.
Check me out, y'all.
8 shooting for 9. 5 shooting for 9. He's a rolling point is 9. Place 9. 8 shooting for 9. 5 shooting for 9. Who wants to come? Place 6.
So funky. So funky.
Coming out again for a new point.
So funky.
Bets down, ladies and gentlemen. Who wants the hard 4?
So funky.
5 wants 4.
Check me out, y'all.
4 fours to point, mark 4.
So funky.
Ace, deuce, scrap, want 4. Ace, deuce, deuce.
So funky.
Scrap, want 1. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Who wants to come?
Check me out, y'all.
9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets. 9 a winner. Pay the front line, take the don'ts. He's coming out again for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. 4 fours to point, mark 4. Ace, deuce. Who wants to come? 6 to point. Who wants to come?